Hello, travelers. I'm Sarah from the UK, now in Hong Kong.
And I'm Sam from the UK, now in Mexico.
And I'm Francisco from Argentina, now in Dubai. And as you can see, none of us is in our own country, a true sign of being a nomad.
Sam here was aiming to become the youngest person to visit every United Nations country. But with barely 10 countries to go, COVID intervened, and he's since spent most of his time in Mexico.
And Francisco is a digital nomad with quite an avid following. He works out of Dubai and also Georgia, which is now developed into quite a hub for digital nomads.
And Sarah, who is a UK citizen, born in the US, but grew up in Moscow. She has traveled to over 100 countries and currently works out of Hong Kong with her twin babies and 2 cats, one of which, Egbert, might be in the show with us.
We're making history today by presenting the first ever Nomadmania Travel Awards. We'll present 10 awards, 5 of which were chosen internally, and 5 of which the Nomadmania community has voted for.
And this is all pretty experimental, so we're sure we're going to have a great time with some of the biggest travelers in the world, but please do excuse any glitches that may occur. We hope that the awards run smoothly and this becomes the Oscars of travel.
Indeed, we're very excited to have a number of panels which will give out the awards, including a number of very special guests. Some of the biggest travelers in the world will join us tonight. So stay with us, get some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
So, without further ado, let us move on to our first panel of the evening, which is truly making history. There are about 260 people we know of who visited every country in the world, but sadly, only a few of these are women. In fact, less than 10%. But the number is certainly growing, and tonight we'll have a large number of these here to give out our first award. To do this, I'm joined by Yui from Singapore, who will be in charge of this panel. Hello, Yui. Great to have you with us. You're on mute.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Yui Power Redford, and I completed the UN 193 in 2017. It's so great to be part of this momentous event. Today is the first time that women who have completed the UN 193 countries are coming together to speak, so it's very special. We come from a range of different countries and backgrounds, but we're united by this achievement and our great love for travel. So please join me in welcoming the rest of the panel. We have Lily West. Hi, Lily.
Hello.
We have Ildiko Zavo. Hello, Ildi.
Hi, hello, everybody.
Good, thank you. Britt-Marie Boudry. Hello, Britt-Marie.
Hello. Hi, nice to be here.
Hi, great. Joined by Gina Morello. Hey, Gina.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Mel Smith. Hey, Mel.
Hi, lovely to see you, ladies.
Lovely to see you. Nina Sedano. Hi, Nina.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you. We have Jessica Namango. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, how are you?
You're great.
Good.
Masayo Goto. Hi, Masayo.
Hello. Hello, I'm Masaya Goto. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you all. Is that all? I think we have one more person joining. Okay, well, thank you, ladies, for joining us. It's really a momentous event, as I said. It's the first time we're all getting together, and it's really a special chat. So thank you for your time. And today, we're going to be discussing a range of topics. So, for example, one of the things that I get asked a lot as a female traveler is about the specific challenges faced by women traveling the world. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this and maybe some input from each of you. Gina or someone, would you like to start maybe?
Absolutely. So the biggest area of concern, I think, for women specifically is around security. We have some additional issues beyond what typical men might have, besides pickpocketing or bribery or something like that. There's harassment from men, and in the worst case, some sort of sexual assault. So those are our challenges that are unique to women usually.
Yeah, most definitely. I think safety and security is definitely up there. Lily, you've had years of travel. Would you say that the challenges have changed over the years?
I think it's got a bit more dangerous than it used to be in the 60s and 70s, actually. I'm watching out for myself a lot more than I used to. I think men were not as predatory as they have become now. That's my thought anyway.
No, that's a very fair point. Jessica, what about you? What's been your experience with regards to the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously being a woman, we know what that comes with. But for me, I haven't had that many safety issues outside of the US. I think one of the biggest learning lessons for me is that if I'm traveling, even if like something happens for me, obviously I have the other dynamic of race and being visibly African, which is a whole another set of issues. But the biggest thing for me is that I always try to move with positive energy. And even if something happens, whether it's around my gender or my race, even if I'm upset in that moment, I don't let it ruin my entire trip. And I think that's the biggest and most important thing. And I think as far as like danger on the road, if you will, when you look at statistics, it's so incredibly rare. When it comes to sexual assault, no matter where you are in the world, most women are assaulted by people they know. So when you're traveling, it's actually going to be less likely to happen because you're not running into people you know. So I think pretty generally, the world is very safe for women, in my experience. And I want to just keep repeating that just so that more and more women feel more and more comfortable. Because while that fear is there, I wouldn't move with the fear. I would just move more with like confidence and positivity, and just always focus on having a positive outcome when you're traveling and bringing positive energy to you.
That is such a good message. And definitely, that's so much truth in that. I think there's a lot of scaremongering around the world. And I think one of the reasons that a lot of people don't go ahead with this kind of goal is because they're afraid of the types of things that we've talked about. But it's true that the world is made up of all kinds of different people. So we really have to, make judgment on the place depending on the location and the societal norms over there. Thanks for your input on this, ladies. Very insightful. Another common question that I hear is how to balance travel with so-called real life, especially when this travel involves visiting every country in the world. Now, I'm sure people would be very interested to know how you ladies have managed to do that. So let's hear some of your experiences. Britt-Marie, I know you've had a long career in business and have a family. How did you manage to do that?
Well, I think you have to adapt your traveling to your current circumstances. Before marriage and children and my professional career, I traveled extensively and as much as I could afford. Then followed a couple of decades with other priorities and less spare time for traveling. But I did not restrain from traveling, but then often together with my children. And I really hope that all parents will inspire their children to travel because that's the best education you can give your children. And after the children had flown out, I decided to work less. And then I started to travel extensively in order to visit all countries in the world. And during that period, I went to about 10 new countries every year. So, really, you have to adapt your traveling to your current circumstances.
Very sage advice from Britt-Marie. Thank you. What about Nina? Nina, how did you manage to balance your work and travel?
I don't have a family and I don't have children. I have a mother left, and that's all of my family. And when I worked till I was 36, I had 30 days holidays per year, which I stretched to 70, 80 days traveling per year. So I was away a lot, and I tried to see as much as possible when I was traveling. And when I quit my job, I definitely quit my job because of problems at the workplace. And I was very glad I did that. And I traveled till I was 45 and managed then to travel every country in the world. So half of it I did when I was working, and the other half when I had quit my job. And I've written books about it, which is fun to do as well, tell about your stories.
That's amazing. It is really a giant balancing act, I think. It is about priorities and timing, I think. Mel, I'd love to hear your take on this as well. I mean, you also have lots of things that you do. So how did you manage the travel balancing act?
So I love working. I couldn't imagine like not working. I love my career. I have a really fun job. I'm the CEO of the world's largest online-only grocery company. It's a 24/7 job. It's like £3 billion of business. And before that, I was on a bunch of management teams, and I was a partner in a global management consulting firm. But I also really love traveling. And so I think if you want to do something, you figure out how to fit it in. So I took a lot of career breaks. I'd take 4 months off between jobs, or I'd take long holidays. And then sometimes I would just get on a plane on Thursday night and go somewhere really random for the weekend, 4-hour overnight in economy at the back of the plane trying to sleep, and then come back to work, overnight flight Sunday, and just show up on Monday and like hope I got through the week. So I think if you really want to do it, you'll fit it in. But I'm also, I decided not to have kids, and I have a very supportive husband. I'm not sure I could have had the career, the travel, and the kids, but I hope somebody out there manages to fit all of those things in.
Well, that's a really great story. I think it does come down to, again, priorities and what is important to you. And it's amazing how all of us are so different, but we managed to achieve the same goal. So I hope that's encouraging to people with a similar ambition, because it just shows that where there's a will, there is a way. So if you love something, you're going to try to get it at whatever cost. Okay, so moving on. Now that 193 is done for all of us, what is next on your list, or what kind of goals do you think you'd want to pursue? Do you think you'll continue traveling in the same kind of way? What comes next for you? Masayo, what about you?
Yes, I have been to the North Pole twice, Antarctica 3 times, and 1 time in South Pole. And I've been to all 193 countries plus 2. I always respect the local culture and tradition, not offend people as a female traveler. And then I like to visit Antarctica just one more time to visit Emperor Penguin Colony. I want to spend some time with them. And next, I want to go to space, at least 100 kilometers from the Earth. I booked a flight some time ago, but it was canceled because US stopped making shuttles. I have to wait a while. But maybe within next 10 years or so, maybe 20 years, I'd like to go to space. I want to see the Earth in one, not piece by piece. Thank you.
That is great. I hope you make it. I hope you make it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Ildi, what about you? What are your travel ambitions?
Well, I visited every country. I basically finished with my last country in 2018, November. Well, it was a challenge itself, because the 2 last countries I visited was Yemen and Saudi Arabia. Well, Yemen at the time didn't even allow any tourists to enter. Precisely, there was no flight to Yemen at all. So I had to take a cargo boat from Oman all the way to Socotra. And Saudi Arabia, obvious reasons, as we know, they were not allowing tourists until recently. So 2018, being a female below 40, well, yeah, the homework was there. So of course, when you finish, you feel really content, grateful for all the people who were supporting you and who were with you in this. But also, you just, one day you wake up, so, okay, I've been to everywhere, so what's next? So I came up with the project going to unrecognized parties, partially recognized countries and territories. So this is how I ended up places like Baghdad, Iraq, because previously I visited Kurdistan, Iraqi Kurdistan, Or, for example, I ended up going to Somaliland because previously I've been to Mogadishu only, or Western Sahara. I went to Nagorno-Karabakh. I visited also South Ossetia. And of course, the next big goal would be Easter Island, which unfortunately I had to postpone due to the pandemic. I was going to go in 2020 March. So that will be it. And of course, if you've been to every single country, there is one little continent, well, not so little, bugging me. This is Antarctica. So hopefully next Antarctica is coming up. Fingers crossed.
That's great. The white continent definitely beckons. I think it's a wonderful place. So, ladies, we have a couple of minutes left, and then we'll present our award. I'm going to ask one final quick fire question to hear from everyone, and that's related actually to goals and travel goals, small travel goals. We've been to every country in the world now, but if there was a country or a part of the world that you could return to, what would it be? Let's just all hear from all of us. I'll start. For me, I love spiritual places, so I'd love to return to Bhutan, Tibet, Nepal, places like that. And I love deserts as well. What about all of you? Shall we just go around? Lily, where would you go back to?
I think I would like to go back to Tajikistan because I didn't spend a night there. It's the only country I haven't spent a night because they were having a civil war. It wasn't a safe place to stay.
Tajikistan, great.
Yep.
Ildi, what about you?
I think the background shows itself. I'm a big fan of Africa, okay? The whole African continent is just, especially I'd like to go once things settling down to Ethiopia. So definitely an Africa fan. The simplicity of life, I mean, they appreciating things these days, which long time forgotten, I would say. So yes,
perfect.
I have one vote for Africa.
One vote for Africa. Brit Marie?
Yes, for sure. It is Latin America. I've been living there for many years, and I'm really longing to go back to Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica. I mean, I really love Latin America. So that's my.
I love the variety that we have. Gina, what about you?
Well, I want to go back and visit everywhere, actually. Anybody that's traveled with me will know that I say I want to go back as soon as I'm leaving a country. But to narrow it down a little bit, I'm on my way back to Antarctica right now as we speak. I'm broadcasting from Ushuaia, so I'm heading there for a second time to watch the solar eclipse.
Oh, wow. I hope you had an amazing time. Mel, what about you?
I would like to go back to New Zealand if our Prime Minister lets us in anytime soon, but I'd also be very happy to go back to Mali.
Agreed. I love Mali as well. Beautiful country. Nina?
I would like to go back to Namibia. I had a great time there. It was only 10 days and I spent most of the time in the north, and I would like to go to the southern part.
Perfect. Agreed. It's a beautiful, stunning country. Jessica, what about you?
Sorry. Yeah, it's so hard for me because I think I have a list of at least 100 countries that I want to go back to. But my favorite regions are definitely the African continent. I spend probably 2 months minimum there per year across different countries. And I love the Middle East. But the place probably highest on my bucket list is Scotland. I've never been to Scotland.
Scotland it is. Beautiful. Masayo-san, what about you?
Yes, I'm the first Japanese traveler who reached the Titanic wreck 4,000 meters below the sea level. I saw the real Titanic. I like to go to the bottom of the ocean again. Any part of the earth was very exciting, but it's very scary too. Yes, but I also like to visit unrecognized states. I visited quite a few. I visited Somalia, Mogadishu as the first female solo traveler, and I traveled Somaliland. And also I like to travel Tibet, Abkhazia, Ossetia, Nicosia, those unrecognized states as well. And I like to do lots of more scuba diving as well.
Brilliant. Very active lady. Well, thank you very much for your input, ladies. This has been so enlightening and such a valuable opportunity. I hope you've had as much time, a fun time on our short chat as I have. Now the time has come for us to make history by presenting the first ever Nomadmania Travel Award. Remember, 5 of the awards were chosen directly by the Nomadmania team, and 5 others were chosen via the vote. So we start with an award dedicated and decided by the Nomadmania team directly, and which is given with a lot of gratitude. This is the biggest Nomadmania Friend Award. It's the individual category, and it's given to someone whose contribution to Nomadmania has greatly helped develop the project.
And in a way, everyone watching right now is a big friend of Nomadmania just by watching the show and being part of our community. Tonight's first award goes to someone whose unique, very generous support has allowed Nomadmania to establish its goals and to establish the scholarship program. And in fact, Yui and I are the scholarship committee. And so we're thrilled to announce tonight that we've awarded 8 scholarships, travel scholarships, to deserving students from Rwanda and Uganda who have never ever traveled before.
And perhaps aptly, the recipient of this award is not from one of the more obvious countries. In fact, not even from one of the top 20 countries of Nomadmania members. So where from, I wonder? Well, the recipient of the very first award today, the 2021 biggest Nomadmania friend individual is, drum roll,
Mekrad Mamadov. Mekrad is the biggest traveler from Azerbaijan and has been to 189 countries. Woo! Meaning he only has 4 more UN members left. Mekrad heads an influential advertising agency based in Baku, but he can be found traveling often. And in the last year alone, he has been to Chad, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and has just returned from a tour of West Africa. Lucky him. It's a real pleasure to award him this prize.
Hey, well done.
Thank you very much.
Mekrad.
Thank you very much. My greeting to everybody. First of all, I want to express how happy I am to be in the range of nomads. Thank you, Harry, for gather us all together with a great pleasure. I want to congratulating all the winners of Nomadmania Travel Awards.
Mirage, congratulations. Thank you so much for being a great friend to Nomadmania. And hope you're happy receiving the first ever Nomadmania award.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great to see you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I congratulate. My congratulate to everybody. Nomadmania Travel Awards.
Thank you so much for being here. And now we move on to the next award. For those of you who don't really know much about Nomadmania, we're just going to show you a quick video showing all of the features of the website, and it just shows you everything you need to know. Hopefully the video is going to play right now.
Welcome to Nomadmania's homepage. From here, you can navigate our entire website using our main menu, or you can choose one of our 7 languages. Nomadmania splits the world into 1,301 regions and offers a safe place online for travelers to keep track of their travels. You can find out more about our purpose and code of conduct, how to help us by donating, or how to ask us a question and send us a message by using the About section from the menu. If you'd like to find out more, you can click on the Sign Up button and become our member. The only thing that we ask of our members is to fill in their profile and travel data. That's it. No payments and free forever. Now that you're registered, you can log in and start exploring as one of our 15,000 biggest travelers of the world by navigating to the My Travel section. This is where you'll spend most of your time to keep track of your trips. Head to the My Regions page now. Here, you can see the mega regions list on the left. This is a geographical split of the world. Each mega region consists of regions which are almost always smaller than a country. Here, you can mark regions as visited, add the year of first visit, and quality of your visit. As you will find out, it is not always easy to add all of your regions, especially if you're very well traveled. We encourage you to have some curiosity, play around, and learn about our split of the world. Let's head over to MQP, which stands for Many Quirky Places. This is a list like no other, that only the most traveled people visit. It will grow until it reaches 1,200 items, or maybe even more. Another way to keep track of your travels is called My Trips. Not a looker, but this has the potential of being your ultimate tool for keeping track of your journeys. The best thing is that you can plan a trip ahead and then go back in to edit it by marking the regions as completed and adding notes as you go. It is like a diary for your travels. You can even export the full list of your trips per year. A purely geographical measure of travel, Know Your Earth, divides the world into 458 pieces based on 10-degree divisions of latitude and longitude. Mark quadrants as visited by clicking the map. Let's talk about the series now. This is a unique list that we have developed over 50,000 points of interests split into over 50 different categories. You can access the series through the My Series page, where you can navigate easily with the menu on the left. Another way to view the series is to go to a region page. For example, Canada, Ontario East. All of our regional pages contain series that are mapped within the borders of this region. This way, when you plan a visit, you'll easily know where to go and what to look at. Also, you can easily mark series points and that way gain more traveling experience points on Nomadmania. For the best view of your travel accomplishments, you can visit your profile. First thing you see is the map and visited Nomadmania regions. If you switch your view to the UN, you will see more oranges now. Try to play around with our scrolling tool, which gives you a nice view of visited regions or countries per year. Note that this will only work if you add years of your first visit to every region. Now, let's see your personal scoreboard. Here you can see various travel scores, as well as our badges that prove that you're a real person or signify that your travels have been verified by the Nomadmania team. Below is your personalized list of various visited regions. You can show or hide regions to easily navigate or even export your wanted list. Use the menu on the left to navigate through various regions. The first one is Nomadmania regions, but there are many more to explore. Master Ranking is a list where you can find our travelers who have at least 40 regions. Use the search filter for more details. For example, if you want to see who are the biggest travelers from Germany in the age group 50 to 59 years old. You can see various ways for counting travels shown on the right, while on the left, you can see various Nomadmania badges, warranties, and achievements. Click on the badge here to get a full list of travelers' achievement badges across many categories. Triumphs is our most interactive category so far. This is a live feed updated 4 times a day that shows and celebrates our members' latest travel achievements. UN Masters is one of the most precise lists of people who have traveled to every United Nations country, of which there are 193. We have various categories for this as well, easily navigated through the menu on the left. Nomadmania is known for verifying the travels of our members who wish to go through the process, which makes us the only traveling club that does so. Even though we work diligently on adding new names to this list, there are always some travelers who manage to go under the radar. So if you have more information for the list, please feel free to contact us. In our media section, you can find some quality reading materials. This is where we stash our list of articles published about Nomadmania. Also, we take pride in having a long list of interviews with some of the world's most accomplished and most unique travelers in our interviews section. Find also our list of newsletters, which we send twice a month and always give fresh information about the website, community, and other planned activities. Don't forget to subscribe. If you become our member and stay longer than 30 days, then the Fixes section is unlocked for you. Find out who our other members use to get their travels well planned and safe. Statistics store some of the most precious travel information that we can offer. Find out which regions were the most or least visited, and so much more. Did you know that Nomadmania is a registered non-profit? You can donate in several ways, including through Patreon, where you will get additional benefits. Nomadmania is and always will remain free of charge, so any contributions are always voluntary. We do not aim for profit, but we do need the means to fund our operations. The donations serve two aims. 1, the continued development of our project, and 2, our scholarship fund, aiming to give travel experiences to those who don't have the ability to travel. Thank you for your attention and happy travels.
So now we know everything there is to know about Nomadmania. That video just explains all the different ways in which you can use Nomadmania. Now we move on to the second panel of the evening, which is on the way to 193. And we've invited a bunch of people who are very close to visiting every country in the world. Now I should be joined by Rachel and Marty of Very Hungry Nomads. How are you guys doing?
Sam. Hi, Sam, and everyone else watching. So I'm Marty from Slovakia.
I'm Rach from Australia. And together, yeah, like you said, Sam, we're known as the Very Hungry Nomads.
And where are you guys joining us from?
So we're currently in Tunisia.
Okay. And this is, you're near one of your last countries.
So we have traveled to Tunisia before, but we came here for particular reasons, seeing more of the country. And also last week, we were finally able to reach a new country for us in the last 18 months. And then it was Libya. And essentially until last night, we thought that our next country was Israel, which has changed a little bit in 24 hours, but
yes, it does.
Hey, that's the travel these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's been changed by the pandemic, and it's completely turned the world upside down and stopped everything that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'll pass it over to you guys, and I'll let you guys lead the next panel.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sam.
Of course.
Alrighty, everyone. So our next panel, we are inviting a lot of our travelers here that are on the mission and on the journey to see the 193, the official UN list of countries. Everyone has a different number, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a really interesting a club of people. And I think the journey is just really unique for each one of us. So let's welcome them all in and see what they've got to say. We would like to talk a little bit more about, hey Mike. How you
Hello,
doing?
you guys.
Good. Nice to see you.
Hey,
All
Rick.
good, Rick.
You too.
Welcome. And we've got a few more coming in. Guillaume.
Guillaume.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Really
Hello.
well.
And of course, Igor here. Welcome.
Welcome.
And we have Mette. Hello, Mette.
Hi.
Nice to see you. And Alexander.
Alexander.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, and we've got our close friend Dan loading, coming in hot from somewhere. So anyway, everyone, welcome. Welcome to this group. We're really excited to chat to you about this crazy journey that at some point, we all started.
Exactly. So I think we're going to chat about a few things today with you guys about reaching 193. It's a pretty big goal. And I wanted to chat to you guys about when was the exact point that you decided that you wanted to go for it all and reach 193. Where were you and when did it occur? I think for us, when we hit 100 countries, we kind of thought, well, why not try and do them all? There wasn't so many women on the list at that time, so we wanted to diversify. So Mette, let's start with you. At what point did you decide, let's go for 193?
I decided also
at reaching 100. I was standing next to the statue of Christopher Columbus, getting ready to celebrate with rum and a cigar. I was there with all of my 3 children, and I think that was the point where I thought, well, this might actually be possible. I've traveled my whole life. I've traveled with my kids. I've traveled with my parents my entire life. So that's it. That's sort of the lifestyle. But setting my mind to 193, that was at that point, I think.
Fantastic. So very similar to us. What about you, Loic? When did you decide to chase 193?
Well, a bit of a cliche as well, I gotta say. A bit like you guys and a bit like Mete. I just started one after the other, and then all of a sudden, well, oh man, I'm so close to 100, and then why not keep going? So it is kind of a similar story, I guess, just like you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we always think about that doing the first 100 countries. Hey, Alvaro, how you doing? The first 100 countries, we personally think that it's actually really easy to reach because you can usually go to very accessible countries. There's not many visa hassles. It really comes to the final probably 50 or some of the really tricky ones.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest countries. And I think we would all agree that we all have a different challenges and different hard countries to get to. So let's talk about the hardest countries that you might have visited in the past or the ones that you have still ahead of you. Let's start maybe with Rick.
Hey now, greetings from Boston, everybody. So I'm at 145, so I think that means I have 48 left. I've got a couple of challenging ones left. I have one country left in Asia, that's Turkmenistan. I've actually been denied the visa twice, so I guess that's a bit of a challenge for me. So I'll be trying for a third time in the near future. And then I've got some countries like Libya and Haiti still left as well. So some great countries still left to visit.
Yeah, some good ones.
Fantastic. Igor, tell us about your most challenging countries so far, or even have left.
I was in Iran, so I had to apply the visa to go to Uzbekistan first. This was 10 years ago. So to apply the visa to Uzbekistan took me around 10 days in Iran. And then when I got the visa of Uzbekistan, then I applied my Turkmenistan visa, which took as well around 10 days. So yes, this was because it was only 5 days. That's kind of transit visa. So I guess Turkmenistan was the most difficult visa to take it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be definitely hard. It's interesting how visas do change. Can we hear from Alexander? I can see that he's got a nice outside setting. Alexander, hardest country for you to visit?
Yeah, actually, I was happy to be, because most of my travels, they were done for my job. So I only was started to think about just Nomadmania, like when I visited like 90 plus countries. So the hardest was probably Afghanistan, just before Taliban, Syria, before the war, Iran, and a few African countries like Sierra Leone, like Guinea, but it's probably not very difficult. Yeah, that's probably the hardest countries. That's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thank you. And can we hear from Guglielmo as well? Hardest country? Oh, we've got, maybe you might be on mute, Guglielmo.
I think you might. There you go.
Can we hear you?
Now, can you hear
me?
me?
Yes, fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I traveled 2 years non-stop from 2009 to 2011. At the time, I thought it was much harder to get the visas. Like Igor said, like for Central Asia, we have to apply to many places that now we don't need a visa. Of course, it depends of the passport. But I was lucky that at this time, 10 years ago, I visited places like Yemen, Thailand, Central Asia. So this is that I thought it would be harder, but now I see that it's easier. But other places, same. I think it's getting easier to travel. So on West Africa, I managed to get the visa in Tente. So usually we think it's hard, but once we think, oh, it was not that bad. So I think it's getting easier and easier with the past years.
That's great to hear that you have such a positive outlook. I think that's also great because we all here together to talk about Positive Traveler, but we've got about a minute or so left before I hand back to Sam. So I'm just going to ask you individually, because we don't like to talk about the numbers, but everyone wants to have the number. How many countries do you have left to complete your journey to visit every country, whether it's 193, 195, 197? We won't hold it against you. So let's just go one by one. Mette, how many are you missing?
I am missing 21 countries, and I am doing it with a sort of self-proclaimed golf handicapped of dimensions, because I've decided to travel as much as humanly possible with my 3 children, and they're between 13 and 20 years old, and they've traveled between 80 and 90 countries each. So a lot of the times when I travel to a new country, I don't buy 1 ticket, but 2, 3, or 4. That's sort of making it slightly more difficult also for security, but it's also making it so incredibly rewarding. So I think that is by far worth it.
Yeah, fantastic. Really inspiring, Mette, that you travel with your children. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Alexander,
how many
countries?
Officially for Nomadmania, 88 countries I still need to visit. Currently it's 105, but I've been to slightly more countries, but it was on confidential trips related to my job, so I cannot disclose the information within the next 10 years. So obviously, if we count these countries, it probably will be 15 countries more. But otherwise, for the countries I can prove, is 105.
Of course, we understand. Igor, how about you?
It's missing 37, but I still think it's gonna take a while to visit all of them, because of course I want to visit all the 37 out of 193, but it will take a while because my priority is not to visit the country like and tick. No, so for month I will spend 1 month in Mexico. So I'll go there again. I visit a lot of countries that I've been already. So it will take a while to finish them.
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty, guys, we will have to go to Sam soon, but before we go, can we at least, I know Rick mentioned he's got 40 left, so can we at least hear from Loic how many countries to finish?
Sorry, I'm muting myself.
Welcome back.
From 193, so still have a few easy ones, which is good. But I kind of like having so many, because you kind of feel like there's still a lot to be seen. So I take it as a positive note. Maybe when I get really close, I'll get a bit nervous, but so far, yeah, fantastic.
It's all about positivity in this segment. So, and then the last one,
Exactly.
we have Guillermo to hear your final country count.
How many?
Well, I was happy to be part of this select group, because still a lot of countries, about like 60 countries, more than 60 countries. For me, it's a lifetime goal. So it's not something that I want to do in the next 10 years. I'm a father of 2 now, so I'm revisiting a lot of countries with them. And I was lucky that, like I said, I visit most of the unrecognized nations before, so I kind of did the other way around. So I can go to easy one. Like during pandemic, I visited Greece that I didn't visit Greece before, and other places. So it's fun. For me, it's fun, and it's fun to travel with kids now. So a different moment of my life.
Amazing. I think for all of us, it's always a lifelong journey, even after we've seen all of them. And there's plenty of countries that, it's nice to look forward to. A new country, Daniel, who was trying to join, I think he's just under 10 now, but he's got some internet difficulties, but we're just happy to answer that for him. But I think
for now, I think we're going to hand it back to Sam, and Sam, you can take it from here.
Perfect. Great panel, guys. It's super interesting how close we all are to finishing every country in the world. So now we can move on to the next award, which is the Most Positive Traveler Award. And this is the first award of the evening that was voted on by the Nomadmania community. I should be joined by the other panelists to give out this award. I don't know what we're going to do. So, okay, I'll do it myself. So it's now time to remember why we're all here. This is the Most Positive Traveler Award, and it's given to the traveler who traveled most positively in the last year and is a model of behavior in our community. As for every one of the categories where the Nomadmania community voted, there are 5 incredible nominees for the Most Positive Traveler, and they are Anna Basusic from the US and Poland, Dane Basutamente from Cuba, Daniel Hertzberg from Australia, Christian Alikic from Croatia, and Debechi Sen from the US and India. And tonight it's important to remember there are no winners and no losers. The whole point of travel in this category is to spread positivity. The people of Nomadmania have voted and decided that the award for the Most Positive Traveler of 2021 should be awarded to...
Drum roll.
You're going to say it, Sam, or should I say it?
Yes, you should say it. I don't know who
I
it
should
is.
say it. We have it here, and the winner is Daniel Esberg.
Oh.
Congrats, mate. Well done.
Yay.
Well done. Congratulations.
And unfortunately, he can't join us.
He's trying. He's
Yes.
trying.
Let me
Dennis
just
really
add,
trying.
Sam, that he's actually in Aleppo in Syria right now, so he doesn't have, of course, the best internet connection. This is happening. This is the live exercise here.
Yes, I'm sure he would like to thank everyone who supported him. He's a positive guy. We know Dan quite well, and we probably exchange way too many messages daily. I think anyone that watches his journey, he's one of the youngest one trying to compete along with Sam as well. But he always has a positive way to tell a story about the country. So and I think he well deserves the award. Would be lovely to hear from him, but I think he's probably really happy to be in Syria after all these years. There he is.
No, I can't connect. Well done, Dan.
Congratulations, Dan.
Okay. Congratulations.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the next panel. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Speak to you all later. Congratulations to Dan. Dan makes incredible Instagram stories. If you haven't seen them, he really dives in deep about the culture, and he really is a positive guy. So the next panel will basically highlight one of our special guests of the evening, and this is a pre-recorded panel which should play as a video anytime now. I'm hoping it will play very soon.
Very well done to the Most Positive Traveler. Today we have a number of surprises, and possibly one of the biggest is our special guest who's with me here in Hong Kong. In fact, he's been stuck in Hong Kong ever since the pandemic began 22 months ago. Joining me is Tor Pedersen from Denmark.
Hello.
I caught up with Tor a few hours ago to learn a little bit more about his journey. So Tor, can you tell us a little bit about your mission?
Sure. So I left home on the 10th of October 2013 on a project which we named Once Upon a Saga. And the overall aim of the project was to go out and reach all the countries in the world in one unbroken journey, completely without flying. And that turned out to be really complicated. And here we are now. But so the aim with the project is to promote the countries as positive as I can, the people, the mountains, the lakes, the history, the culture, whatever crosses my path, what I find interesting. I travel as a goodwill ambassador of the Danish Red Cross. So I try to promote the Red Cross and get people involved. I've been meeting up with the Red Cross basically in all the countries I've been to so far. And then obviously there's also all the logistics and bureaucracy that I need to deal with, which has made this a massive headache in recent years.
So what inspired you to start out on this journey?
Well, I've always been taken by different adventurers and explorers and their stories. It has always interested me who went on top of the highest mountain in the world for the first time and how they did it, how they got to the North Pole and the South Pole and went around the planet, even going to the moon. All of this really, really interested me. And I felt that everything had been done. I was born too late. There was nothing left for the rest of us. We're just copies and copies and copies of people past. And then my father sent me an email with a link, and I clicked on it, and I read about people who had been to every country in the world and how few people that in reality was. And I realized that no one has gone to every single country in the world in one unbroken journey completely without flying. And initially I wasn't going to go out and do it, but it stuck with me and it just couldn't shake it off. So here we are.
And how many countries have you been to and which are left?
Well, I've been to 194 out of the targeted 203, which are countries within this project. And the 9 remaining are all Pacific island nations. No, that's not true, but most of them are in the Pacific. They're all island nations. There are no ferry connections to any of them. And they are Palau, Tuvalu, Vanuatu, Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, Australia, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives.
You've been stuck in Hong Kong for the past 670 days. Where are you headed to next, and what's stopping you from going?
Well, the idea was to get to Palau. That was the whole reason why I came up to Hong Kong, because while Hong Kong is an amazing part of the world, I'm not counting Hong Kong as a country. So it was just pure transit. I was supposed to be 4 days in Hong Kong, came up here on a container ship on the 28th of January 2020. So that was just prior to the pandemic. A few days later, they closed borders to Greater China from Palau, and I was unable to go. And I've been trying to go ever since. It makes sense to go to Palau because it's the most northern of the remaining 9 countries. But in reality, I would probably go anywhere I could, if I could.
Have you ever thought of giving up?
Yes, a lot. And sort of every day, I think when I brush my teeth, I look myself in the mirror and I wonder, what am I doing? Is it worth it? This is a big investment. It's been 8 years already. I've grown older. My wife has stayed exactly the same age. But at the same time, you know, there are different priorities in life. It's been a really, really rough project many times. It's come with a lot of beauty. It's been really, really nice as well. I have so many wonderful memories from all around the world, lots of support and kindness from people. But there's also an element of enough is enough.
Now, in your 8 years on the road across 194 countries, you face numerous challenges and roadblocks logistically and otherwise, as you just mentioned. How do you maintain your positivity in spite of all of this?
Well, I met a lot of really, really nice people, and I have many great memories of really kind people all around the world. I've had a lot of support from people around the world, support from companies and from organizations as well. I think that there's a certain element that the world is not as terrible and as dangerous as it's sometimes portrayed in media. And I think that I've experienced that firsthand. No matter which border I crossed, I've met someone really kind and helpful. People have taken me into their homes, they've fed me, we've been joking, singing, and having a good time together. That's basically every country around the world. And I think, you know, those people who are afraid to go out into the world and cross borders and so on, they sort of miss an element which I've discovered over the past 8 years, which is that people are just people. And while there are bad things in the world and there are bad people in the world, the bulk of all of them are just ordinary people. And you would have a hard time explaining how I got this far on a very small budget with public transportation, crossing land borders after land borders, and still being alive, if it wasn't because people are overwhelmingly kind and friendly.
Well, Tor, it's been great chatting to you, but we have a task at hand, and that's handing out the Nomadmania Award for Most Intrepid Traveler 2021.
That sounds like my kind of award.
Indeed. Now, before we award this, a disclaimer. Under no circumstances do we mean for people to go out and do foolish or dangerous things just for the sake of getting an award. However, it's because people do crazy things anyway that we thought that this award was worth giving.
Yeah, so I don't really know how I feel about this award. I'm sort of on the fence because on one side, I think it's a little bit silly with awards, not just this one, but also Oscars and music awards and so on and so forth. And on the other side, I think that some of these amazing travelers that are being presented today, they certainly deserve a pat on the back. So congratulations to everyone.
And so without further ado, the nominees for this award are Matthew Allison from the United States.
Artemy Lebedev from Russia.
Felix Mechnik Giordano from Switzerland.
Hetch Natnapat from Thailand.
And Romain Wells from Jamaica.
And based on the Nomadmania community's vote, the Nomadmania Award for Most Intrepid Traveler 2021 goes to
Hetch Netnapat from Thailand. Now, Hetch is traveling at the moment in Western Africa, and he told us he would be unable to join. But he's incredibly happy for the nomination, and this win will probably come as a welcome and unexpected surprise. So well done, Hetch. And on that note, I will hand back over to Francisco.
Wow, that was so inspiring. So far we have 3 amazing winners, but we still have 7 awards to give out. And the next one is a very emotional one, as it involves facing big difficulties and overcoming them so as to be able to travel as much as possible. I'm joined today by Tudor Clee from New Zealand, who will host the panel of the younger men who have visited every country in the world. Hi, Tudor, how are you?
I'm very well, Francisco. Thanks for having me on.
Are you in New Zealand right now, or where are you at?
I'm actually in Thessaloniki in Greece, meeting my new in-laws and getting the full Hellenic grandmother VIP treatment. So I'm having to sit on a sofa because I've eaten so much food and dessert. I'm unable to move at the moment.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to the 193?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a lawyer in New Zealand, and I've worked pretty hard for 3 or 4 years, and ended up going on a trip to North Korea and met someone who had been to about 100 countries. And I thought, and I didn't even know that you could even get an airplane to most countries in the world. It's just one of those things that if you haven't heard about it being done, or you just don't have it in your sphere. And so I basically went back to New Zealand and said, why don't I go to more interesting places, and set out. And I knew it would take about 7 years in the way that I was doing it. And then I finished with Angola just over 4 years ago today.
Wow.
And then since then, I've focused on visiting dependent territories, unrecognized territories. And if there's one thing I can say, I actually think that the territories are more interesting than countries generally, if you're interested in museums and geopolitics.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what the other people that have visited 193 countries think about that, what they have to say.
Great, thanks very much. So we've got a panel. Are you bringing people in, Francesco? We've got some very interesting speakers. We have from all over the world. We have Gunnar joining us, who is, of course, Norwegian. We have an American here. We have Sam. Alvaro from Wonderids, who is Spanish. And Anderson, who is Brazilian. So we've got a great global representation in the panel today. Oh, and finally we have Sal, another American, if I'm correct. So so can everyone on the panel hear me okay? Great. Well, hey, look, what I want to ask first.
Sorry, I can't hear. Sorry.
We can hear you though.
He's speaking like a monster voice, like whoa. I can't hear. I don't know why. My internet's good here.
Okay, we can hear you.
All good. I'm doing. We can all hear you well, Tudor. I think it might be you, Anderson.
No worries. Well, hey, look, we'll kick it off. I wanted to ask, throw it out to the panel. I just mentioned about how I'd ended up knowing it was possible to do this. Was there a person in real life or in fiction that sparked this idea in any of you to set out to visit every country? And who was it, and how did that play out?
Well, I can say thank you for that to my dad. When I was 4 years old, he was working as a medical doctor on a cruise ship in the Pacific. And of course, I couldn't read as a 4-year-old. So he sent home these amazing stories in the form of audio cassette tapes. And that really inspired me. So I remember telling my mom that when I get as big as my dad, then I'm also going to travel to a lot of countries. So I guess that's where it started for me.
For me, one of the
Sam, do you want to jump in? Oh, sorry, Sal, go ahead.
No worries. One of the first people, I guess, to ever go to every country, his name is John Klaus. He did it like in the 70s or the 80s. He was from the small town in Indiana where I grew up, and I met him when I was younger, and I just thought that was so cool and incredible that he had done that, and so it inspired me to get it done as well.
Sam, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Happy to jump in. Yeah, just want to quickly say thanks to Harry and the Nomadmania team for bringing this together. Pretty fantastic community of people. But I grew up actually not too far from where Sal grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, in the Midwest of the United States. And most of my travel as a kid was playing competitive ice hockey around the country. And so that was really what travel was to me until after college when I took my first job in Singapore. And that's when things really, expanded. I was in the heart of Southeast Asia. I had the world's best airport in my backyard. And, things kind of spiraled from there.
Great. Alvaro, for you?
Hey guys,
sorry, I don't know if you guys are hearing me, but I'm
We
just
do
going to
hear
send a
you.
message to the chat. Thank you very much for everything. I think the digital is the new thing. If you're a traveler, even if you don't have money, I start with a very poor family. I start without money, and I use the internet to make money while I'm traveling. So I think the internet, the digital is the future, is the present now. If you have a time to invest in yourself, to learn more about how can you make money online, I think you can travel more and you can inspire another people. I'm really sorry I can't hear any one of you guys. I don't know if you are listening to me, but at least I would like to share this message because this message changed my life, and I'm sure it's going to change more lives if you start to use the internet to make your dream reality. Thank you very much.
It's a great message. I understand. I think we all heard you. Thank you so much for joining. For me, it's a pleasure to be here sharing this travel party with all of you great travelers. And it's a little bit of what Anderson was saying. Back when I started and I set the goal to visit every country, it wasn't such a big thing on social media as it is now. We have so many inspirational figures. I just was a freak of the world's map since I was a kid, and I always wanted to reach everywhere, not really as an attainable goal, but I did have it. I did start off whilst I was traveling to every country. Whilst I was keeping a 9-to-5 job, I had this goal of going to every country. But then if I had to name a person, he's in this panel is my friend Sal Lavallo, and he finished 2 years before I did. And he was one of the few people I had close contact with that I knew was close to finishing. So that really inspired me that it was possible, that it was actually something I could do.
That's great, guys.
Sal, you could say something, man. You're smiling like a little girl, but you're not saying anything.
Well, I was just going to say that I finished 2 years before you, but now you're ahead of me in the Nomadmania count.
Oh yeah, but it's normal. I'm doing it full time, man. You're an important businessman in Abu Dhabi. It's only normal.
This is Hakuna Matata, guys. This is how it happens. It changes. Actually, on that topic, I did want to do a shout out. I should have said to Boris Kester. That was the first blog of someone I'd ever seen. And I was very glad to meet him through these forums to be able to say that was a big one. So a bit of a lighthearted question for you guys. What's the best or memorable reaction you've had when you've dropped it in conversation that you've been to every country?
I don't know. I'll take this. I don't know. For me, most people don't understand what every country means. They like, okay, but have you been to North Korea? I don't know why people think North Korea is one of the hardest ones. Probably it is now after the pandemic, but a lot of people always ask, oh yeah, but what about this country? What about the other country? And nobody really understands what every means, no?
I was going to quickly jump in on that similar. I'll say I've been to every country in the world, and so often the next thing people say is, have you been to X country, like Saudi Arabia or something? And they just like didn't like fully understand the statement of I've been to every country.
No, it's quite. I experienced exactly the same thing. So yeah, I don't think people get the concept, and it's strange, and it's always the same with me. Have you been to North Korea? Have you been to Syria? Have you been to Afghanistan? And they try to make sure prove you wrong in a way, which is quite hilarious.
Well, you've been twice.
Yeah, you've been twice.
Well, exactly. So
now you need to explain to people what twice means, because they're probably
well, exactly. Maths is hard, eh?
So that's, I think it's an interesting point that, guys, we've got about 2 minutes left. Really interesting point that for a lot of us, it was maybe someone close to us or someone that we met who inspired us to do this. And now there's the internet where you can reach out and see all of these people. And I think in most of your cases, you've written books about it or you have blogs. So I think there's going to be more people reaching out. Let's say you get hit up on Facebook by someone who says, I want to be like you. I want to do this. Where do I start? What's a short answer you'd give them apart from buy my book?
I never say buy my book, but I would just say that people already set up a really high goal without even starting. No, I think for most of us, and people are saying in the previous panels, we start traveling, we go to a few countries, and from then, as you become an expert traveler, you set the goal of going to every country. But what I'm seeing more now is people following people on social media and saying, okay, I want to go to every country. I've been to maybe 10 countries. How do I start? How do I do it? Of course, you don't know, because you haven't dabbled enough in travel world to understand what it takes. So I would just say start, travel cheap, travel near to your home country. Just get started, and then the rest will be easier as you go.
I was gonna, kind of piggyback off that. Like I would say 2 key things. One, travel means something different to everybody. So don't let anyone tell you what's good or bad or best or worst. And the second thing is kind of, it was mentioned in one of the earlier panels, is just prioritizing it. Everybody has different, situations, different resources, different interests, but so much of it comes down to, prioritizing it.
I always agree. Would they want to do it? Or I'll say, like, what is your purpose in it? It's a very time intensive, money intensive, logistically complicated thing to do. So whenever somebody tells me they want to go to every country, I always just say why. And if the only answer is to say that they've done it or just to do it, then I don't think that's good enough reason. So I always tell people, like, have a passion that travel aligns well with, and then you can achieve both at the same time.
I also say start small, travel nearby, and then probably try to divide it up, because as you were mentioning earlier, it's a lot of hard work. It's not for everybody. If you divide it up, for instance, a continent or 50 countries or all the countries in the continent, it's much easier, I think, for most people. And then you can sort of you can stop without losing face because you didn't make it.
Well, I guess for you, Gunnar, you'd say to someone, before trying to do it twice, try to do it once, right? Start small.
Start small.
So, all right, guys. Hey, well, let's move on, because we are really lucky to be presenting a special award that is not one that was voted on, but was done internally for Nomadmania. So it's our pleasure to give out one of the most deserving awards, in fact, of this event.
It's the Against All Odds.
I
think I don't know if we were sticking to the script, but yeah, it's the Against All Odds award for 2021. I keep reading. I don't know. I think it's someone else's line.
Okay, I'll say the line to keep it moving. By this, we mean the ability to overcome incredible difficulties and still manage to be a great traveler.
For example, we all know that certain passports require endless visas for travel, so this could be seen as a big difficulty to overcome.
Or much like Anderson, you can be born into a very difficult financial situation to begin with, but somehow you find the way to overcome this and explore the world. This year's Against All Odds award recipient has had an incredible number of difficulties to overcome.
And yet has emerged as a travel force that will never be beaten.
He certainly has. So the winner of this very special award, born on the 6th of September, 1978, seaside town of Weston-super-Mare in southwest England, is Tony Giles, blind author and world traveler. Yeah. Tony, are we?
I'm good. Thanks.
Well done,
Hi
Tony.
There. Hi.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Where are you joining us from, Tony? First of all, so we know where you are.
At the moment, I'm in the small little seaside town called Teignmouth in southwest England, near Exeter and Plymouth.
What inspired you to travel to so many places, Tony?
Oh, I don't know, just something to do. It's something I never really planned. I just sort of wanted to sort of adventure and stuff when I was young, and I got a chance to go and study in the States as part of an American study degree, and just out for adventure, really. Didn't really want to, do a 9 to 5, and started just traveling in the States and Europe, and led me to sort of Australia and New Zealand, places where I sort of knew and that, and researched about, and eventually thought, I love this. This is great. I do crazy stuff, meet crazy people, and kept going, really. And then about 13 years ago, I had a kidney transplant, and after my operation, I realized I want to do this for the rest of my life. Let's try and visit every country in the world and maybe inspire a few people along the way and show them that being blind, partially deaf, you live your dreams, whatever they are. So just go for it. Give it a go. That's what I try and do.
Amazing. Very inspirational.
Well, Tony, in an interview you did recently, you specified of all places in the world, Rotorua as memorable, which is why I think I was chosen to give the award, being from New Zealand, because of its very particular scent. So I'm honored. I don't think anyone has ever said they're so honored to have Rotorua for a country. But can you tell us another place? Where's somewhere else where you just have it at the forefront of your mind, the scent or a memory like that is so clear to you?
I would say my favorite country is New Zealand when I'm asked, but that's the most amazing place I've probably been to is Antarctica. Stepping on the white continent for the first time, just the clean air, it's so fresh. The space I could sense around me is, it's just open expanse of almost nothingness. And then, so as soon as you get on it, it hits you. There's just a penguin poo everywhere. It stink. That's that sense of nature and being totally out there, I suppose, almost on my own, even though we're sort of another 100 people there. Apparently, you really feel isolated. That was amazing.
That's brilliant, Tony. Well, congratulations for being the inaugural winner, and you've inspired all of us. Is there any final message you'd like to send out to your fans or followers in this forum, and then we'll have the award presentation move on?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for this award. It's amazing. It's not for me really. It's for every other disabled person out there trying to travel or reach their goal or achieve their struggles, really. So yeah, just thank you very much, and just everyone out there, whether it's got a physical disability or mental disability, just have a go, just live life, and keep on keeping on. Thanks, guys.
That's great, Tony. All right, thanks very much,
Tony.
To the panel, guys. I think what a great panel, and anyone watching, I think pretty much everyone else has a website. You can, I'm sure, reach out to them if you need any advice on travel or buy the books. It's always recommended. All right, moving along, Francisco. Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and this was a very emotional moment of the show. But I think we have even more emotion about to overcome us. So stay with us. I think there's a lot of very interesting people. Some of the most traveled people in the world will be joining us. So one of the biggest events that made headlines in 2021 was a change of regime in Afghanistan. Many of us who have traveled there, I haven't been actually, but many of us that have traveled there have very fond memories of the hosts who became friends during the stay, exploring the amazing beautiful country with really lovely people.
Joining us today are some people who have direct experience of Afghanistan and who will tell us more about their experiences and how their lives have been affected by the developments there. So on that note, please meet some of our fellow travelers. Noor joining us here. Hi, Noor. I think you're on mute.
You're mute.
James. Hi, James.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you this evening?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hi, Noor.
Hi, James. Good to see you.
Great. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining. It'd be really wonderful if you could maybe talk us through how has the past year really, impacted your lives and those around you.
Sorry, who's going to answer this question, please?
Why don't you start?
All right. Should I answer this question? Sorry.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. First of all, thank you so much for all this nice, beautiful event. And I'm sorry that it's kind of midnight here. I just woke up and I'm a little bit frozen, but I try my best. Afghanistan is it was a great country, and we all were trying our best out there. The change of the regime quite surprised everybody, and we didn't really expect this, and suddenly it happened very fast, and there were lots of reasons behind that you probably know. It just made us leave the country. We had to unfortunately close our office, leave our house, our belongings, our everything behind, our family, relatives, and friends, and the beautiful Afghanistan behind. And to me, actually, it was not a good experience. It was quite a crazy moment. I think leaving Afghanistan was the hardest thing ever for me, because we all, as a guide, as a company, as a people who was living in Afghanistan, who had feelings about Afghanistan, we suddenly had to leave everything behind to the people who didn't really like them, unfortunately, to a group that everybody hates them around the world, unfortunately. And it was just a catastrophe for us. And exactly right now, I'm living in Australia, but I'm still lost. I don't have my house here. I'm just lost in the middle of nowhere. I'm now feeling so bad about Afghanistan. I'm feeling about my people. We just lost our dreams. We lost our wish. And we were just lost. Australia is a very beautiful country. I love everything here. The weather, the people is extremely nice. We appreciate the government of Australia and the friends who helped us through evacuating Afghanistan, especially our friend Christian Ilitsits. But this was not something that we wanted. We wanted to travel one day around the world as like any of you out there, but this was not something that we expected. And I think that's my answer. Sorry.
No, I traveled to Afghanistan with you and your brothers, with your company, Let's Be Friends in Afghanistan. And I had an amazing time there. I loved it. The passion you and your brother have for the country is incredible. Like, I can't imagine how sad it would have been for you to leave it and to move to Australia and start a completely new life there. I can't imagine that myself.
Thanks, Sam. That's how it is.
Yeah. It's just kind of unbelievable that happened, right? Like, it doesn't, I don't know, a year ago, and no one would have expected that to happen. And it's incredible that things changed that quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just happened like overnight. We used to start an organization to help the children out there because I had a crazy childhood, just myself, very early in my life, and we just wanted to bring changes to some small children lives out there. And we had the facility ready, we had everything going out there, and suddenly things changed. We wanted to bring bring kids in the facility that we had out there at the beginning of July, and suddenly the districts after districts started falling into the hands of Taliban, and just by mid-August, and we lost Kabul, we lost Afghanistan, and that catastrophe happened. You saw the videos and the pictures and footage, everything at the airport, and we were one of those people. Gul, many other of our friends and fellow colleagues, we were just at the airport through the crowd and trying to find a way to get out.
Thank you, Noor, for sharing that experience. I can't imagine what it must have been like. Gul and James.
Thank you, Sarah.
What about you?
James, you are going to talk.
Thanks, Gul. Good to see you, Gul.
Thank you.
I just want to take a step back. A lot of the discussions on this panel have been about, travel and maybe ticking off a country and things like that. But I just want to say, I've known Gul and Noor. I've known Gul for over a decade and Noor for, 6 or 7 years. And they've worked really hard to make Afghanistan not just somewhere where people go and tick off a box, but somewhere where people actually want to go and spend a significant amount of time. Sam mentioned how he had a great experience with Noor, and these experiences, they are in Afghanistan, but the guides always work really hard to go the extra mile to give people a good experience. Gul has helped set up the Marathon of Afghanistan, which is the country's only mixed gender sporting event. He was critical to developing ski tourism and kayaking and all sorts of other things in Afghanistan, just to give the world an impression of the country, which is not just about extremism and violence, but about how wonderful the country is. And I've always been hugely impressed with Noor and Gul. They've been such great guys in trying to develop this and trying to develop tourism in a really good way, that for this to happen to them, for all of the stuff they've struggled with, the risks they've taken to kind of guide so many of the people that are watching this and taking part in this presentation, to have that taken away from them in such a dramatic and violent way, it was really heartbreaking to watch. It was nice in a way to be able to be in a small part, to be able to help some of the guides and to help some of the people either leave Afghanistan or support them, they're still there. But it's just been, tragic to watch. And my heart goes out to Noor and Gul because, I've known them for a long time, and it's horrible to see them have to leave and to try and find their way, as Noor says, in this life. Everything's just been taken away from them.
And Gul, how about you?
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here among you guys, and same time I'm really sad that I'm missing my job. It's 3 months that I'm away, and I'm not going to do any more this. So it's a little bit hopeless, but same times I'm happy that I'm safe and my family is safe here. But same time, I'm thinking about my people, my families, my colleagues still in Afghanistan, and we are struggling to support them, to bring them out. But I think it's really difficult at the moment, and maybe not possible. So I think sometimes I'm thinking what we did for our country, and so we had a dream, we had a plan, and but now I think Taliban got everything from us, and our life, our dream, our plan, our country, our beautiful country, Afghanistan. So now life here, and I'm now based in Italy. So it's 3 months in Italy. Italy is beautiful. I have traveled some of the places that I was dreaming to travel. But to be honest, I was not expecting to be like this here. So I was hoping that I was coming traveling here, not to be to bring here. So yeah. So thank you so much, Nomadmania, so for organizing this. At least it fresh up a little bit about what we are doing, and I see a lot of our friends around the world. Yeah, I think that's all I can say.
Great. Thanks,
That's
everyone.
amazing, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Very, very quickly, Noor and Gul, what are your, Noor, I know you're in Australia. Gul, what is your plan for the future? Just, how are things going to develop for you in the coming months?
Actually, now I'm thinking now to travel to leave Italy for New Zealand. So I'm soon leaving in 2 weeks. Maybe I will travel to New Zealand with all my family. So because all my friends are there and my colleagues. So I think once I'm there, still I'm on my trip. So still I'm not reach my home.
And Noor?
Noor, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, with me, probably I'll be here in Australia for a while, and probably because of our travel documentation, we may not be able to travel out of Australia, probably at least for a year. And my dream is to start working again in Afghanistan one day, anytime, as soon as possible. I don't know. I will be looking for this. I'll be continue talking about Afghanistan and showing the beauties of Afghanistan, which is extremely a dream for me. But since I am here and I cannot do anything else, I used to write short stories in Afghanistan, in Dari, in my language. And now I am translating those stories into English. So I have a lot to say about Afghanistan, lots of details about the life of people. Well, like when you go into the people's houses, into the people's stories and happy moments and problems and stuff like that. So now I am trying to translate my short stories into English and make it into a collection of a book or something. This is something to continue talking about Afghanistan and show the beauties of Afghanistan in any way possible. So that's my plan for now.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for sharing your stories with you. Really touching, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam, Sarah, Nomadmania, James, Gul. Very happy to see you, Francisco. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we see that traveling with a purpose really does matter, as does giving back in time of need. So on that note, the nominees for Nomadmania's 2021 Purposeful Traveler Award are
Thomas Bragg from Sweden,
Willie Maya from Ghana,
Karen Penny from the United Kingdom,
Kola Spori from Germany,
and Johnny Ward from Northern Ireland.
And based on your vote, the recipient of this award is, drumroll, Woody Maya from Ghana.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Wow.
Woody,
thank you.
I understand you grew up in a small village in Ghana.
Yeah, I grew up Yeah, I grew up in a small village. Got a chance to travel abroad to China, and yeah, I decided to come back to Africa to promote Africa in my own way. Yeah, just to put Africa on the map. Yeah.
Did you ever expect that you would go on to do what you have done, and having interviewed more than 200 opinion leaders in Africa and travel the entire continent?
Not at all. Sometimes when I see it, I get shocked myself, because being someone born and raised in the village, I never expect to see myself interviewing the people that I've interviewed so far. But I guess traveling with a purpose gives you the opportunity to, meet all these people, and it's been an amazing journey so far. And I appreciate all the love and support from the people who have been supporting the channel and my journey.
Amazing. I have to say, Woody receives the award with a very comfortable margin of votes, which means the community was indeed highly impressed by him as a truly purposeful traveler.
Wow. Thank you. I really appreciate, and thanks to each and everyone who voted for me. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Woody. Thanks so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Wow. That was an emotional one. Sam, I understood that you went to Afghanistan with those guys.
Yeah, I went to Afghanistan with Noor, and Noor is so passionate about the country, and just unbelievable kind of passion about his own country and wanting to show people it. And I think that's why he started the company. He wanted people to love Afghanistan, and I can't imagine how sad it is, for him to have to leave. I imagine for him, he never wanted to leave.
Yeah, I can't imagine either. I unfortunately have not been to Afghanistan, and sadly, I'm not sure I'll make it now.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully things get better soon, and we're all able to go back there, and Noor is able to go back to his home country if he wants to do so, and hopefully that changes very soon. So now we'll move on to panel 6, and panel 6 is all about travel clubs. So Nomadmania is kind of a travel club of sorts. And then there are some other travel clubs. There is TCC, which is the Traveler Century Club. It's been around for about 60 years. And then there is MTP, which is the Most Traveled People. And I'm joined by the founder of MTP, Charles Veely. Hi, Charles, how are you?
Good. Hi, Sam.
Yeah, I think as I've spoken to you a little bit about, I'd been a part of MTP for, I don't know, the best part of 10 years. And it was the place where I originally saw that people could do this type of thing, that people could travel to all of these crazy places, and especially on MTP, visit tiny little islands and in the middle of nowhere. And I think it's amazing what these websites can do.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks like, and you're making a career out of it. Look at you, and you were trying to become the youngest person, and now you're doing it for a living.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to become the youngest man, and you're trying to visit every country, and I was definitely inspired by MTP. So thank you so much.
Let's travel together sometime.
Let's do it. I will pass over the panel to you now, and I'll let you be joined by all of the other travel club members.
Okay, let's see. Who do we have first? Hey, Joanne.
Hello. Good.
So Joanne from Traveler Century Club. Jacob Uster, representing the Travelers Club of Denmark.
Hello, Charles. How are you?
Stefan Krasowski, Rapid Travel Chai, but he's really representing EPS Every Passport Stamp here.
Thank you. Welcome.
Gur Demirkan, representing the Turkish Travel Club. Hi,
Hi. How are you?
Everyone's mic is working so far. Jacob, is that you with babies in the background? Jacob travels with kids.
Yeah, it's not me.
Oh, really? Okay. And Riza Rasco, representing PGE, the Philippine Global Explorers. Hi, Riza.
Hi, Charles. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So if anyone has background noise, go ahead and mute if you're not speaking. Okay.
Is Kolya here? Okay, so missing Kolya just now. Well, so we'll start. So I'm Charles Veely. I represent MTP, the most traveled people. I am from San Francisco, and I'm in San Francisco today, which seems kind of shameful for a traveler, right? But I'm recovering from hip replacement surgery. If I weren't, right now today, I would be departing for Algeria with Harry and with Don Parrish. So a little bit sad to be stuck home, but it's for healing purposes. So Joanne, can you join and tell us about TCC?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Joanne Schwartz. I'm also in the San Francisco area. TCC is a social club for people who have been to 100 or more countries based on our own list of 329 countries and territories. We have 29 chapters around the world. 22 are in the Americas, 4 are in Europe, and 3 are in Asia Pacific. And we have about 1,500 members who are based in 47 different countries.
Can anyone join? How do you join?
Well, if you have been to 100 or more places based on our list, you are welcome to join, and you can go to our website, which is travelerscenturyclub.org, and all the information is there to join. We welcome you.
I have to give a shout out because TCC is what got me started. As soon as I figured out that, Tahiti was different from France and Puerto Rico is different from the US, and that there were all these things out there that didn't really match to the UN 193, I said, someone should make a list. And then I found out about TCC. So that's what got me started. Stefan, maybe you can tell us about. Oh, just a second. Bent Hilgebrand is here representing Club 100 from Sweden. Hi, Bent. Is your mic working?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, Stefan, can you tell us about EPS?
Yeah, I started EPS, Every Passport Stamp, a Facebook group. Initially a selfish reason that if anybody finds a legal way to get to Diego Garcia, I want them to know of me and contact me. And from there, it grew into a platform of sharing information on travels. I call it a non-denominational club. We do not make a list or subscribe to a list or get militant about how to travel. And we welcome travelers that even if they're just heading to their first international destination, are incredibly passionate and what we call serious travelers, interested in the world, thinking about the world. Our great strength is real-time sharing of information, and using Facebook as a platform has allowed a tremendous diversity of over 12,000 members around the world to discover, share information in real time, and has blossomed into a number of in-person meetups that happen amongst trips together and gatherings around the world.
All right, thank you. And it's a Facebook group, so anyone on Facebook can sign up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, good. So I don't see Kolya here, but I'll just give a quick shout out to Kolya Spuri, who's from Munich and Monaco, who represents ETIC. That's the Extreme Travelers International Congress. That's actually an in-person get-togethers, and we've gotten together at some very extreme places like Grozny and Mogadishu, and most recently we were in the Nagorno-Karabakh area that had been retaken by Azerbaijan. And we were in Baku with Mehraj, and it was an amazing trip. So moving on to Bengt Hildebrand, can you tell us about Club 100?
Yes, Club 100 has been founded in 1996, so we have 25 years today, or this year, 25 years anniversary. The language of the club is Swedish, but you don't have to have a Swedish passport. We have members with Danish, Finnish, Norwegian, and even one Austrian passport, but they speak and understand Swedish. We have 87 members, 11 of whom have passed, so 76 full members. And to become a member, you have to visit more than 100 countries. We have 67 hang-arounds, and to become a hang-around, you have to have visited more than 50 countries. We make club trips, and the last one was to the Peruvian Amazonas, visiting the Matses indigenous community. We also, in 2021, went to Libya, South Sudan, Somalia, and Pakistan.
I think one of our other panelists, Riza, was with you just now, Gina was with you on your Matsi's trip. And
yes,
Riza,
we had 2 people that were not Club 100 members that participated in that trip. We were a great team, and sometimes we include people from outside of Club 100, so we are open-minded and friendly.
Mikitak, maybe I can be a member too. All right. Riza, can you tell us about PGE, please?
The Philippine Global Explorers is a global community of Filipino world travelers. We have brought together currently around 600 of the most traveled Filipinos that are located in 6 different continents. We were founded on the principle that the privilege to travel comes with a duty to give back to our nation. So that's exactly what we set ourselves to do. We're harnessing the strength of our network, our collective knowledge and skills and experiences to create a positive impact in our travel thought leadership, education, culture, tourism, international relations, of course, within the context of the Philippines.
Thank you. So it's I just mentioned, I happen to know that Riza's in the bus station in Montevideo, Uruguay right now. So that's the noise coming.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So you have to be Filipino even if you're in the diaspora. So what does that mean? Can you be like Thomas Buechler? Can he be in the club because he's married to a Filipino?
Wife is a member of the PGE, Vang. So you must have been born in the Philippines or you have a Philippine heritage.
So Thomas is like in the Swedish group, Thomas is like a hang-around. He's a hang-around Filipino. Okay. All right, moving on. Ur, can you tell us about the Turkish Travel Club? And then,
hello, everybody. I want to say hi from Istanbul to Nomadmania Union. Turkish Travelers Club is an official association based on volunteerism, and our aim is to provide cooperation between travelers in Turkey and around the world. Turkish Travelers Club was founded in 1997 by Mr. Orhan Kural, but unfortunately he passed away last year. He was a great traveler. Later then we chose his friend and the second best traveler in Turkey, Mr. Selman Arınç, as a president of Turkish Travelers Club. Our head office in Istanbul, and we have a museum called the House of Travelers. This museum is also a travel library. We will be happy to welcome all the travelers to our club and our museum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard that it's very nice. I'm waiting for my invitation. So anyone who can get a swinging invitation knows how to get one. Please let me know. Finally, Jacob. Sure. Jacob, tell us about the Travelers Club of Denmark.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jacob from Denmark, presently in Copenhagen, and I represent the Travelers Club of Denmark, which I believe is the biggest travel club in Scandinavia. So the club has around 800 members, almost all from Denmark, but also a very few Norwegian and Swedish members. And to get accepted into the club, there is a set of criteria. The most important one is that you have to have visited as many UN countries as you are years old, with a minimum of 30 countries. And on top of that, every second year, it is being checked if you've been to 2 new UN countries during the last 2 years. And if you have not, you will actually be kicked out of the club. And a few years back, we had the honor of hosting the Nomadmania founder, Harry Mitsidis. He was visiting us and giving a presentation at our dedicated travel cafe in Copenhagen. And as a last remark, and on a personal note, my son got into the club having visited the required minimum 30 UN countries at the age of only 2 years old, and he still holds the record for being the youngest person to ever be being admitted to the club.
Thank you, Jacob. So yeah, that's a whole nother panel that we need to have next time, is traveling with children. Jacob kind of has the world record for that, so we can talk about that another time. I'll just say a couple words about MTP, Most Traveled People. I started it. I had an issue with the Guinness Book of World Records a while back, and there was no database online. So I created the first online database of people and places, and I had finished the TCC list, so I decided to expand. And I would say that's a precursor to Nomadmania. But you can join MTP. We're a little bit more focused on the islands, and Harry splits up the land areas a bit more, but we do tend to work together. And so you're welcome to come to mtp.travel or download our Mac, or sorry, our iOS, iPhone, or Android apps. And so, but we've taken a little bit too much time, so it's time to get down to business. If everyone has their script ready, so it's time to make an award. Rita, your line. You're mute.
We have earlier awarded the biggest Nomadmania Friend Award for the individual category.
All right, Jacob.
But we also have an award for biggest Nomadmania friend in the organizational category.
This award is given to an organization that has particularly helped Nomadmania's goals in the past year or so.
This help could take many forms, from promoting Nomadmania to aligning with some of the values and aims that Nomadmania has.
Makes sense. So we all represent different travel clubs, organizations, so we know how important this kind of support and mutual assistance can be. And even though at the end of the day we may all have a special angle, we're still organizations that need help.
So without further ado, the award for biggest Nomadmania friend 2021 for organization is awarded to.
Right. Drum roll, everybody. It is the Turkish Travel Club.
Yes.
Are you surprised? Or can you say?
Yes, I'm surprised.
What
it's a good surprise for me.
What does this mean to you?
Sorry?
What does this award mean to you and to the Turkish Travel Club?
To a certain extent, we all represent organizations here, Travelers Club, so we know how important support and mutual help us.
Thank you, Ur. So congratulations. I know that Harry's done special articles about you, and so it's a big honor to meet you, and hope to visit, as I had said. So moving on from the award part, we're going to transition to a special video. So we all represent our travel clubs, but there's this one travel club that was not represented in the panel. This little thing called Nomadmania, and the founder there, of course, is Harry Mitsidis. You know, Harry and I are such good friends that many years back, we both shaved our heads on a dare. And ever since then, we've been sharing the same wig, this wig right here. And I'm supposed to give it back to Harry. It's been like 3 years, but the pandemic and everything. So Harry, it's here waiting for you. And we have a video. Just who is Harry Mitsidis? As soon as Sam plays it.
Is he the world's most traveled man? This is Harry.
I was born in London. My father's Greek, my mother South African. I grew up in Athens, 49 years old. I just love to travel.
It's impossible to define who the world's most traveled person is, but one guy has visited more regions of the world than anybody else, if you look at Nomadmania's rankings.
You don't want to say you're the world's most traveled man, but you're currently #1 on the list. How many regions have you visited?
I have visited 1,234 of the regions. That means I've got 67 left. I don't think anyone will ever do them all, but I do hope to get as high up as possible.
Do you reckon how many days you have spent on the road?
Well, nowadays I spend about 220 in a year, so about 2/3 of the year I'm out. Overall, I would say about 15 years altogether out of 49. So it isn't really that much, is it?
He has visited every country in the world. On his way, he has almost visited every UN country for a second time. Even not far from have visited every country in the world 3 times.
Have you ever felt in danger while traveling?
In general, no. I've been extremely fortunate. Of course, when I was arrested in Yemen, things were dicey. And I think I was very scared because I didn't know what their intentions were and what they want to do with me. One incident I'll always remember was in Bangladesh. I was going to a mosque in Baghahat, and then I was entering the mosque. There were a bunch of kids and teenagers kind of came toward me. And one of the questions they always ask in these places is, are you a Muslim? So I said, no, I don't believe in God. And one guy said, oh, you're a communist. So that really has stood out as a really funny experience that remained with me. Yeah, we're really going to the middle of nowhere. I just love the insanity of all this.
Small airplane today?
Yeah, I think it's a Dornier 228.
Harry has been to Afghanistan 3 times, Iraq 3 times, Venezuela 4 times, and Yemen 4 times. And he has been some very remote places that few people know of.
Here we go, San Helena in the Atlantic. And then obviously Pitcairn, which is one of the most isolated inhabited places. Yeah, you often find when you travel that the world is a very, very small place. Yeah.
For me, it was a big honor meeting Harry at Nomadmania's conference in beautiful Sao Tome and Principe, where we spent 10 days together at both Sao Tome and the other island, Principe. And to have him with me on my first ever group trip to Socotra in Yemen.
Socotra, a new place.
He has visited the most regions in the world, been on more airlines than any other person, been to places that most people have never even heard of.
Off I went.
It's been one crazy journey for Harry.
I've got a few countries left to do them all the second time. I keep on having this urge to run, to always move. I can't stay still. I will say I'm addicted to movement. We messed up.
Luxury tourist. So Harry, your type of travel style?
I guess it varies. I can go to a really expensive hotel sometimes, but I would say that's the exception. Usually, the more natural you get, the better it is. I mean, come on, look at this, you know? Best dessert in the world. This is the guy who tried to rob me. Would you want to come to lunch with me? I'll pass if you don't mind.
I feel so lucky to meet with Harry, and I see him as my mentor, a person I can learn a lot from.
What have you been most surprised about on your travels?
I think human kindness. It always surprises me and makes me happy. People in general, no matter where they are very open and willing to help you. And this is one of the best lessons you can learn being a global traveler.
What is your dream for the future?
Well, we all have dreams. I'd like to say I want to travel more, but I travel 250 days a year, so I don't know how much more I could travel. I think I'd like to find peace. I will say I'm addicted to movement. More than just to travel, I always need to move. So I hope at some point I'll get old enough where I can just relax and have a bit of zen. I'm not sure. Maybe my character isn't wired up that way.
Do you have a message to the world?
Be an ambassador for yourself and for your country. Remember, other people will behave to you as you behave to them. So smile, be positive, be the best you can be.
This is Harry. How cool is he?
You've got some people who are extremely rich and then others who are really on a tight budget. You've got men, women, all ages, all orientations, all religions. It's an extremely democratic thing is the love of travel, and that's great. But then what is beautiful about it is that when you meet another traveler, it doesn't matter if you have anything else in common, you can immediately find common ground. So you start talking about Guam or Reunion or the Galapagos or Uzbekistan, and it all makes sense. It doesn't matter who they are, you just immediately understand each other. I think it's very important to keep an open mind. Travel is number one, but I think in life you have priorities and some things fall behind, but I feel it's worth it.
Well, good evening, everyone, and I hope you've been enjoying the show. We're running a bit late and I need to go to the airport, which is my natural habitat, but I will perhaps miss my flight because this is more important. Thank you all for being here. When people send messages, sometimes they say, "Hi, Harry," but they should really say, "Hi, Nomadmania," because we definitely are a community. I may be the founder of Nomadmania, but I'd say it's something much larger than me now. There are many people to thank. I feel like I'm making an Oscar speech, the one I never got to make because I'm such a lousy actor. So I really want to thank you who are watching and being here in the first Nomadmania Travel Awards. It really means a lot. I am really humbled by all the participants tonight, more than 60 travelers who selflessly have given their time to participate in panels and talk about their incredible experiences. I do want to thank my parents. Nomadmania would not exist without them. My mother for the encouragement. My dad, I don't know another dad. My dad was a lawyer and he still dabbles in it. And when we registered Nomadmania as a non-profit in Greece, he spent the day running with me to all sorts of places, to the tax office, to the registration office. I don't know many 80+ fathers who would do that just for an idea. So thanks, Dad. And there's someone special out there. And I think what happens is that I give the impression that travel is always number one, but it really isn't. Home is number one. It's just that I am addicted. But more than anything, panel 7 is about the Nomadmania team. And these are the people who need to be thanked the most. This is the only award tonight that I chose myself. So before anything, Orest, show yourself, please. Orest is our director. Hi, Orest.
Hello, guys. Nice to see you. My name is Orest. I'm from Ukraine originally and currently juggling all these things for us to be able to do the broadcasting from Miami. So really great to be here. I am on the count of 129 countries, which is not so bad for the guy from Ukraine. But this is a great inspiration for me to see all of this, what is happening now.
Orest, thank you so much for all the rehearsals of this and for undertaking this crazy task of buttons and letting people in and out and coordination. Thanks. So now, why don't you bring the rest of the team in? And the Nomadmania team is small, but it is very select. So, hi, Milana. Hi, Daniel. Hi, everybody. Go ahead, Milana.
Hi, team, and hello, everyone tonight. My name is Milana. I'm Nomadmania's manager. I'm originally from Bosnia and now living in Warsaw in Poland. And absolute highlight of my job is working with Harry. Harry, maybe you are a lousy actor, but you are a wonderful person, traveler, and a boss. So it's really an honor to work with you. And it's an honor to meet all of you people and to see you tonight all in one place.
And one thing I want to add, what you can see behind Milana there are the awards. Milana and Daniel are the only people who've actually seen them. We've designed them, but I haven't actually seen them. So there they are. They will be posted to the people who receive them. So yeah, congratulations, recipients. Well done. So Daniel.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be joining this event tonight. I keep recalling the moment I first met you, Harry. That was more than 6 years ago, and we met in a mall, as I recall, and we discussed a small project of revamping the mapping for what was then called the Best Traveled, and what is now known as Nomadmania, and we grew so much, and it's an ongoing project. I'm very proud to be of this group, and this is a wonderful event. So many nice people, inspiring people, and yeah, I couldn't be happier.
William is from Ghana. So William, unmute your mic and tell us what you do.
Hello, everyone. I am William and I'm from Ghana, and I've been working for Nomadmania for the past 14 months. And so far, it has been a wonderful experience. Sao Tome was really wonderful, and I got to meet the team. And yeah, so far I've been working on the series aspect of Nomadmania, and I've finished with the top, and now I'm working on the roads and bridges, and I'm also working on the blogs and stuff. It has been very stressing, but like knowing this community and knowing how Nomadmania serve its members, I'm really privileged to be part of this team, and I'm very grateful to Harry for that. Thank you for giving me such an opportunity.
Thank you, William, for being part of the team. And Wojtek. Wojtek is one of the members who's been volunteering for quite a long time. Hello, Wojtek.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to meet you all. And for my participation on Mania, as Harry said, it's been wow. It's been 9 years since we first exchanged emails with Harry. So I am kind of associate volunteering, as Harry said. But I may say that because of my involvement, several other members of the team, such as Daniel, were introduced to the project. So now 3 of us live in Warsaw, which makes very strong representation of Polish travelers, of the Polish participants in this wonderful Nomadmania project.
Thank you, Wojtek. Thanks for getting Poland up there on the country list. And then, of course, how could I forget Thomas the Nomad, who is the Minister of Internal Surveillance. Thomas, hello.
Hello, greetings to all of you from Switzerland, Weckis, Switzerland. It's snowing today. It's the first day of winter, I guess. And I'm taking care of verification. I have verified so far for UN countries about 200 members. 200 members have get the verification badge. This morning, Lucy Su, who is a California-based teacher, has just passed the Nomadmania verification. Harry doesn't know it yet. And for the regional verification, about 80 members as of now have the verification badge. Of course, this regional verification is much more time consuming since we ask about 60 regions out of 1,301 regions to be verified. So yeah, if somebody has visited, let's say all 193 countries or is close to it, or 600 Nomadmania regions, please contact us if in case we forgot to contact you. Safe travel to all, safe travel, regards. Cheers and beers from Switzerland.
Thanks, Thomas. Indeed, Nomadmania is the only project of its kind which actually checks that high-ranked members are really going where they say. And, some people sometimes make mistakes, tick things, thinking that the region is somewhere else. And we just want to verify that. Now, Mike is originally from Brazil. are you there?
Hello, hey everyone, this is Lisbon calling. How are you? It's great to be here with you. I don't even know if I have if I should be here, you know, because it's such an honor to be with this amazing team. I'm the community developer, but that means that I go traveling and I go talking about Nomadmania and saying how Nomadmania is amazing. So I'm also chasing the 193. Right now there are 38 missing, but I just go and talk to people on my way, and I try to explain, hey guys, do you really know how amazing Nomadmania is? Do you really know all the functions? Do you did you fill your map? So that's what I do, and I really enjoy doing this. Thanks, Harry. It's an honor to be here, really.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks so much for giving your time for this. Now, as you can see, everyone here is quite incredible. But the team is small, so it wasn't as if I had millions of people to choose from. So anyway, the award for Best Nomadmania Team Member for 2021 goes to. Well, I decided to go with seniority, and Milana will present it to our dear friend Thomas the Nomad.
Thomas, congratulations.
What would we do without you?
Safely packed for you to verify.
Merci beaucoup. Vielen Dank. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you so much. It's a great honor.
You're very welcome, Thomas. We will post it to you shortly. So yeah, Thomas didn't know he was getting it. So that really was a surprise, I hope. Now, you may think that Nomadmania is only lists and, hard work and ticking and whatever, but we are a community. We do meet. In pre-COVID days, we encourage volunteers to host travel meetings in their hometowns and get people together. That has stopped now, but this year we did manage to have a bit of a meeting. We managed to have our conference, the third Nomadmania conference, on the tropical island of Principe. And given that in much of the world it's now getting kind of cold and the winter is setting in, I think this is a great chance for you to get a bit of a summer vibe by watching a bit of a film about how we all got together on Principe during the conference. So enjoy the short film, and then we've got panel 8 for you.
Nomadmania!
Pastéis de nata, the best dessert in the world.
His father's name is Perry.
Okay.
It's a Danish name.
I'm Simpson. I will be your guide in this car, okay?
Okay.
How to make coconut.
Yes, my man.
Cheers.
Yes. You don't have these in Bosnia?
This is, by the way, the symbol of the country, the Pico.
Just enjoying? Like the guy next to you?
What did I sign up?
Yeah.
Why have I done this?
So,
we made it! Are we ready?
54 people. He's in the San Francisco Xavier.
Only 54 people?
Yeah.
Doing it. I can't believe it. The day has come after 2 years of working on it. We're actually going to be going to Principe, finally.
Right, welcome on board. Where are we going? Mumbai.
We're really privileged to be here.
William, how is the breakfast?
So lunch is at 13:30 exactly.
Hello. Hello.
Big photo shoot day before we went hiking.
Are you ready to go hiking?
Oh yes. I'm wearing my hiking shoes.
This is not for me, this is to remove the snake. Almost 140. I have to apply to Nomadmania.
We made it to the waterfall.
There was less spray on that side.
How was the hike?
Good, wet and healthy.
Wow, what a trip. I'm so jealous. Can I please join the next one? Hopefully the film you just saw reminded you that Nomadmania really is a community of people, not just the website or faces behind the screen. And these people really love traveling and getting together. And for those of you in colder climates, maybe it even gave you some tropical warmth.
And now we move on to the biggest guest of this evening. And this guest answers the question, who is the first person to visit every country in human history? Based on Nomadmania's extensive research and its UN Masters list, this is our guest tonight, who completed all of the countries in the world by visiting Bhutan in 1998 at the age of 40.
A veteran foreign correspondent who specialized in covering conflict going back to Vietnam in 1972, and more recently Afghanistan, where he was fearlessly covering the Taliban takeover. He's interviewed, among others, Nelson Mandela, while also being a close friend of veteran politician Martti Ahtisaari. He's also taught journalism and authored 7 nonfiction books in his native Finland.
Dear travelers, welcome the first person we can confirm to have visited every country in the world, Mr. Rauli Virtanen.
Thank you very much, and nice to see all of you. And I was watching happily with those films, and congratulations to the other award winners. It's -6 degrees in Finland, and it's November. The month I think most of the people are booking trips abroad because this is the the worst. I mean, personally, I don't like darkness and I don't like cold, so I'm looking forward. But nice to see you, and it was nice to watch those sceneries from Sao Tome. It was actually one of the few last countries. I don't remember if it was number 168 or 69 before Bhutan that I visited, and I still am watching photos from that time. I enjoyed it. So good to be with you.
It's a pleasure having you. And thanks for taking the time. We'd like to ask you a few questions. So we were wondering, visiting all those countries, did that happen deliberately or did that happen by accident?
In the end, it happened deliberately after I had visited, let's say, around 150 countries. And then I thought, my God, it's maybe possible that I could see all the rest of the countries, and not anticipating that soon after my visits, the Soviet Union will break down and Yugoslavia will break down and there will be no more South Yemen or DDR. But then, of course, I've been catching up with those places, and the last one being South Sudan, like I guess for most of the people of my age. I mean, that's the latest independent country, and now we are waiting what's happening with Catalonia or New Caledonia, where I have been during the time when the local there was an uprising against the French rule, and it gave me good reasons to write stories for international papers from there. But like I've been saying, I've been very lucky that I had employers, newspapers, TV, etc., that they have paid my trips, and I've been reporting from most of those countries. Of course, when I went to San Marino or Andorra, Liechtenstein, I didn't write any stories from there, but definitely from the smallest African states or from Tuvalu, Vanuatu, Nauru, whatever. So I always found a way to write, because I've been most of my time freelancer. So I'm not dependent on one publishing house who says that, no, we are not interested in that story. So I can always call a travel magazine or whatever, and I say that there's nothing, there's no war in that place, but it would be a good travel story, so etc. But I'm just back from Afghanistan, so, and I noticed Harry has been there 3 times. This was my 13th trip already to Afghanistan. I'm very attached to the country, and I feel sorry what's going on there, and I'm worried about what will happen to the people there when winter comes.
What are some of the specific impressions you had from Albania, South Yemen, and Bhutan, countries that back at that time they were almost impossible to get to? Can you share a little more about your experience going to those places back then?
Yes, of course. I mean, we always have a challenge that it's nice to be in a country that you don't have too many tourists, and you think you are the first one there, and then you meet someone else at the internet cafe. But as we all know, Bhutan, they said that they were trying to avoid the mistakes that Nepal did. Nepal has been a paradise for the hippie travelers, and Bhutan took a completely different line, and they were requesting that you spend an X amount of money every day, so that couldn't go there. South Yemen was difficult. That was the first country I was ever deported from on my first try, but then I made it later on into Aden. Albania during the Enver Hoxha dictatorship was also a very difficult one. I think that was the last European country I visited in the 80s before the country started to open up. And of course, the most difficult was North Korea. And you've been doing your research more than I do, but I was, when I made those 170 countries at that time, it was the number of UN members. I thought there must be many more people, but then I noticed that there were Americans who had been to 250 regions, but they were never able to go to North Korea because they had an American passport. So I've been very lucky, I mean, in that sense, to be born in Finland, to have a Finnish passport. I mean, we haven't been fighting wars anywhere after the Winter War or the Second World War, and it's kind of a neutral passport. So people don't consider me a colonialist or troublemaker, whatever.
So what would you say are some of the highlights of your career?
My highlights of the career, I mean, there are many. If you're talking about sceneries, I like the Himalayas, I like Bhutan, Nepal, Mongolia. I really enjoy being there. I've been taking Finnish travel groups to Mongolia. I like South America, Andes, and then talking about personalities, you see there. Of course, the highlight was to spend a few days with Nelson Mandela and in South Africa right after he was released from the prison and interview him. And these kind of things I've been following presidential campaigns and Afghanistan. Of course, this was a quite interesting journey to go there just after when the Taliban had taken over. And then you see the friendliness. This picture is from Kenya. When I was at the university, I took my students there. We managed to get enough funds for a trip to Kenya and Uganda to report on the social issues, etc. So getting older, there you see Muhammad Ali and a young guy from Finland, and those kind of memorable events I've been sharing with famous and non-famous people. My first trip was in the Amazon River. I went by cargo ship to Brazil, and these are my backpacker friends from Denmark and Germany. We went up the Amazon River 3 weeks, sleeping in hammocks from Belém to Leticia in 1971 in May. That's more than 50 years ago, and without cell phones or without internet cafes, whatever. So I spent 10 months on backpacking from South America, Brio to Alaska. And I think that was one of my best trips because not calling home once or whatever. And that's when I learned to trust people. I mean, you have to, that's the basic thing. And you have to trust people, and especially when you're hitchhiking. I mean, when you open the door and look at the driver, you cannot slam the door back. I mean, you take the risk, or your basic attitude is that you trust he's a good person and I go with this person. And then you get rid of all the fear of meeting people, which is the best thing in travel, to meet other people.
So you haven't just stopped traveling, like you're still doing extreme traveling even to this day, right? You were just in Kabul after the Taliban takeover. What was that like? Like, what was that experience being there after this shocking event?
Well, I thought since I've been there, I was there 12 times before. I was there during the previous Taliban rule. Somehow I sensed that now there are not too many journalists going there, that at least I should go there and report what's going on there. And I felt that I could handle that, in a way, handle the Taliban and with the right approach. And then with these young Taliban soldiers, I was actually having a photo album from 1980, more than 40 years ago, and with Mujahideen that time when I was reporting. And I told these young Taliban guys that I have been here with your grandfathers already when they were fighting the Russians, the same Russians. We in Finland were fighting in the Winter War. So I was building this kind of trust, and of course they respect this kind of old man coming there, and so that helped me to communicate with them and opened up possibilities to film this and that, and so. But the other thing is, of course, I mean, people, all the educated people, they want to get out of the country, and the situation is horrible, especially for women and girls at the moment. So we have to, international community has to do everything that can be done to help those people.
So if you couldn't travel again and you had to stay in one country, where would you stay?
That's a good question. I think at this age I would choose Mediterranean country because I like the warm weather. I'm playing golf. I like the golf courses. Now my golf course is frozen here. I cannot go there, and also I like the food and sometimes a glass of wine. So that's Southeast Asia is my other home. My second oldest son is working there in the Thailand, Philippines, and then in Switzerland. My eldest son is in Geneva. I have grandchildren there, so I go there once in a while. So, but my home is almost. I feel like a cosmopolitan, but Finnish winters are a bit too dark and cold for me. So I'm longing to go somewhere else. But this time of the COVID has been in my case, could finally, after 50 years, I've been able to organize my slide photos from Amazon River, whatever, those pictures, and putting them in somehow in digitalized form. And I've been having photo exhibitions last summer in Finland, next summer another place in Finland, couple of more photo exhibitions coming. And then I'm giving lectures to people, to students, and etc., and showing the world to them.
So last question, and thanks again for your time and sharing all the experiences. Would you say you are an optimist or a pessimist about the world's future?
I'm still optimist. I mean, but I'm a bit less optimist, but still more than 50%. It looks good. But these recent developments, more authoritarian governments and disinformation, and of course now today we are reading about a new virus from COVID. Virus, etc. So, and this COVID has been pushing especially the people in the developing countries have been suffering, and they've been pushed back for many years regarding health and poverty and education, etc. But the most important thing is that people shouldn't get isolated. We shouldn't build too many fortresses, Fortress Europe, Fortress whatever, and then isolate from us from each other. I mean, the main thing is to keep in touch. If you are not able to travel, at least see the foreigners in your own country and talk to them and try to understand them and vice versa, because this disinformation and it leads to hate speech, which we have seen, fake news, and in some cases that leads to violence and confrontation, which is not what we want. But still, let's hope. Let's keep the optimism up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same camp as you. I'm an optimist as well. I hope the world improves. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you so much for your time. It's amazing hearing about your experiences and everything you did in your life. It's incredible. So now we move on to giving out the next award, which is for the best digital nomad of 2021.
And this award is given to an individual who, through their online travel platforms, have made a true difference to the travel community. So the nominees for this category are
Harold Balder from Norway,
Benjamin Rich from the United Kingdom,
Alvaro Rojas from Spain,
Gustav Rosted from Denmark,
and Eva Zubek from Poland.
And based on your vote, the recipient of Nomadmania's Best Digital Nomad Award is...
I'm opening the envelope here and it says Eva Zubek. Congratulations.
Unmute. How? Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I definitely did not see that coming. It's a real honor. I've been tuning into the show for the last half an hour or so, and just listening to all your conversations just makes me think of how many amazing places and people there are to see in this world. So thank you. I don't know how to make speeches, but it's really an honor. And I hope that, if anybody out here watches my videos or follows me on Instagram, then you can kind of see that spirit that I have of travel as just like a way to kind of find meaning in the world for yourself. Traveling kind of independently and traveling out of your comfort zone without a guide, without a map. That's kind of what I really love to do. And I hope that my work encourages people to kind of do the same. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations, Eva. From those of you who doesn't know, Eva has been to over 60 countries, including Pakistan, where she lived for over a year. And she knows she's now touring Europe in a converted Land Rover Defender. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have over 2 million subscribers on your YouTube channels?
Something like that. I prefer not to count or pay too much attention to it because it gets a little bit overwhelming. But the important thing is that, I find that with almost like every YouTube video or Instagram post, the kind of like feedback or comments I get from people tells me that those guys really love to travel and explore and kind of, I feel like people in my community really try and find a way to travel more independently than perhaps the travel industry has pushed us to believe is possible. And so yeah, something like that, but I don't pay too much attention to the numbers themselves.
Okay, and we've now presented 8 awards of the evening.
And there's 2 more to go.
But the 2 big ones, Lifetime Achievement Award and the Biggest Travel Award. I suppose this is the equivalent of Best Picture Oscar. So joining me for this award is Pedersen, who will be in charge of the men over 50 who've done every country panel. So Per, where are you joining us from tonight?
I'm right now in London, which happens to be the city where I met Harry the first time 4 years ago. First time I met him, he said, "You want to go to Timbuktu?" So the second time I met him, we were going to Timbuktu.
Amazing. I'm slightly envious. It was probably before some of the challenges that hit that country. And I think we'll be joined by a few other travelers here.
Indeed, we have a lot of older gentlemen that are joining us. Scott, 2 guys from the US, all the rest are all different countries. You have 10 people from 9 different countries, age range 46 to 66. The baby in the group, Jumbo Slavik.
Hi, Jumbo.
The baby in the group is Mauricio, who, however, finished the countries at age 28. So a very young, experienced traveler. Michael from Germany. We've got Slavik from Poland and Kenya. Getty from Austria, mountaineer and a traveler. Maurizio is being very discreet there. You don't see his face, but he's Italian. Eric from North America, specifically Canada. And I think we are missing still 2. João Paulo should be coming from Portuguese representative, and Lubos Fellner from Slovakia. But we'll just start now. Anyway, we have a pretty illustrious group. I'm very honored to be part of this. I met probably half you guys in person, traveled with a few of you guys already. I'm very honored to have done so. Today, we've got 10 of the most well-traveled people on the planet, and we've only 10 minutes to speak. But I would just say that this event today is a bit of a teaser, it's a bit of an appetizer for a future offline, in real life, Nomadmania Awards event. So the structure, basically, I'm going to ask a few questions of the different panelists, and we're going to quickly get a taste for their travel experience. At the very end, we're going to award a very special travel award, which is the Lifetime Achievement Award. Okay, let me just kick it off. And I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to have a few people that answer to it. Like, how long did you pursue 193? And why? What was the moment? What was that inflection point? How old were you at the time that you decided, now I'm going to pursue 193? Slavik.
Hi, everyone. I'm really honored to be here. So answering your question, it was exactly on the 1st of January 2000, with the new millennium kicking in, that I counted how many countries I had been to it until that point, and it was like 84. And I thought, wow, that's quite a lot. So how many are there? And that's when I set the goal of going for the 193, and I achieved that towards the end of 2009. So you could tell that it took me about 9 years. And interestingly, I've done it the second time, and the second time 193 took much shorter because I was already retired then. So
already completed the second time. Okay, it's great, Slavik. We have one person who just appeared on the panel, Lubos Fellner. We're just starting to ask the question to you. We can ask, when did you first have in your mind the number 193? What was that moment? What was the inflection point? You said 193. I want to do that. We're just starting to ask the question to you. We can ask. Let me say one thing. If you have also on the YouTube video, please move the YouTube video. 193. I want to just starting to ask the question to you. We can ask. Let me.
I can't hear.
On the YouTube video, please move the YouTube video. Okay, let me ask that same question of Michael Ruckel.
Right. And hello, world. Here's Michael from Germany right now in Miami.
Hey, Michael.
I'm probably the only one who never had the goal to visit all the countries, but I've been visiting all the countries. For me, my whole aim, I've traveled since 1988 out of Europe, was always to the beauty of the world. And since then, I'm traveling all over and try to see the amazing places, what the world has to offer, the cultures, the people. And it just came by time that I actually achieved it. But it was never for me the main aim for traveling. I started when I was like a child, 8 or 9 years old, and reading a German author called Karl May, and I always followed up the adventures, was much more into the adventure and the, as I said, beauty of the world, all the different variety, what we, all of us experience, and that was my main aim. Eventually, I finished up with all the countries in 2018, but that was really more by chance, and I published my first book, and then it was more that I said, okay, now for marketing, I'm gonna finish it. For me, the main thing is to see the world and enjoy it.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Michael. Scott Keller.
Yeah.
What was the moment for you where you decided to go all the way?
Yeah, look, combo of what we heard actually, which is at one point at age 35, at my birthday, actually, I was traveling with my younger brother, and we counted up the countries that I had been to, and it just so happened I had hit 100 on that day. And once you hit 100, I think you start to think, there's less on the path to every country than there is behind me. And that was when I thought, hey, this could be done. Let's do this. And then from there, it took 12 more years to make it happen.
Exactly. You're coasting after 100. It's all downhill from there. It's all easier from there, right?
They get a little harder to get to, though. So don't be fooled.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Konstantin, what was the moment for you when you decided, 193 exists, I have a list, now I want to actually focus on that list?
My story is interesting because I was born in I'm from Ukraine, and I was born in Soviet Union, actually. And at that time, unfortunately, Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union, and all the borders were closed, and we were unable to travel abroad to see the world. So, and the forbidden things are always most attractive. So it became my child dream, the biggest child dream. Fortunately, the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine became independent, and in 20 years, I thought, why not to make my child dream come true? So here I am. So it took me 10 years. Actually, it was always my child dream, and I started to study this problem from the beginning. But at the country number 100, I thought, yeah, I can manage, I can finish it. So it's like that.
Okay, I think for a lot of it, it's a childhood dream, and then all of a sudden it becomes a more concrete thing once there's a number, there's a goal. And men like to collect things. They like to, boys like to have collections and fill the whole album with stamps. Anyway, we were a unique group. There was a younger group that was on the way 193, the young group that finished, and now we have those 193. Is there life after 193? João Paulo, what does one do when one finishes the list of 193? João Paulo.
Hello, I don't understand your question. You're asking me what did I do
after 193? What does your travel life look like?
I'm still traveling. So now my goal is Nomadmania region, so I'm still traveling. Nothing changed. I think I thought it will change, but it's the same thing, just traveling and traveling.
So the addiction goes from 193 to a much larger list, a more difficult list.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks, João Paulo. Lubos, can you hear us? And you're actually muted? Unmute.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Now I can hear. So sorry for beginning, but I'm here. Hi.
Please. So what after 193? What does your travel life look like? What is the life post 193?
I mean, so I am special, but I hear the story from the Ukrainian guy from Soviet Union. I was the same. I have the same story that I was in this Iron Curtain, and then the revolution came 32 years ago. So then I start to travel, and originally I'm a doctor. I was working on cardio surgery, but then my heart fell for traveling, and I create travel agency. So from that time, I'm just traveling. And now what is my aim is like to find special things. Like I met Michael on one festival in Niger. I was now in Iraq in Ashura festival. So I try to find some special special places. I mean, like you, everybody, or that here. For example, now I want to go to West Sahara, but one part belongs to Morocco and one part to Mauritania. I want to go to both parts, but I know from tomorrow they will shut down all flights to Morocco, so maybe I have to postpone it for 2 weeks.
So I guess it's probably pretty safe to say travel for us is a heart disease that can't be cured.
That's
Eric,
it.
Eric, the rocker on the world tour that was a real world tour. And now post 193, what is your approach to travel?
I thought I would start everything again, but this time alphabetically. No, I'm kidding, of course. Nothing really has changed. I'm still traveling. I travel a lot for my work for music. I'm a musician, a full-time musician, and there's a lot of travel involved, obviously, and that's how everything got started. I have one big benefit that I'm interested in, or one advantage. I'm interested in languages, which leads me to go back to places. So the 193 was never a goal of mine. It just happened. One day I looked at I decided to write everything down, and I saw, oh wow, I'm just a couple countries away, and it just happened. I'm still traveling. It's a way of life. It's not a goal. In German, they say der Weg ist das Ziel, which means the path is the way, which is a very good expression for that.
What they say also, and probably in Zen Buddhism, and the Stoics would say the obstacle is the way. Let me say, I also have the same philosophy. When I finished 193, I figured, what's the next mountain to climb? I decided I want to learn Russian and then explore further the 15 ex-Soviet Union countries. So, Maurizio, what does life look like now for you in the post-193 world?
Well, I empathize with what Eric. I agree with what Eric just said, which is travel has become a way of life for me in many ways. Well, the first thing I did when I finished 193 back in 2004 was to actually focus on having a proper job, proper career, and not just doing little things here and there. I had to repay credit cards, obviously. And since that time, I've been for work. I have a work that allows me willing to be in one place for an average of 2 years, sometimes less, sometimes more. And now between my work, my family, my friends, my other interests and activities, it's rare for me to have 2 weeks, let alone 3 weeks, where I'm not actually taking a flight. But one thing I've aimed to do, of course, is to go beyond 193 and go to the different territories and entities I hadn't been to. Sometimes with my kids. So I took one of my kids to the Channel Islands. I took one to Iraq. Of course, I had already been there, but that's the kind of place where my kids have become interested in going to. And in the last 2 years alone, I finally managed to go to Saint Pierre and Miquelon, to Santa Lina, to Asuncion, to the Falklands, to some U.S. cities that I had not been to, like San Diego or Tampa. And very embarrassingly, I had never been to Northern Ireland. So I managed literally, I think, last year or the year before to go to Northern Ireland. So travel is still a way of life. And when I can go somewhere new, that's excellent.
Okay. Speaking of, I use the metaphor of the mountain to climb and going to the top. For me, 193, there's this tension as you go towards the goal. There's a tension and the motivation. You finally get to the top of the mountain, and there's a sense of euphoria. So, I've arrived. Then at the same time, at the same moment, a sense of sadness. What is the next mountain to climb? That's something all based for me, filling that hole to a large degree, Nomadmania, in this idea of going back to countries and going much deeper with a sort of a structure. Gary is a very usual member of our panel because he has not only done 193, but 7 summits. And not only that, he actually went under his own muscle power from the Dead Sea by bicycle to Nepal. And then he kept on walking. Not he just flew into Everest Base Camp or walked there or flew in close by. He walked all the way up, went to the tippy top of the mountain. So some people, they climb Everest, it's 8,900 meters. He's done 9,200 meters on this planet. So I'd like to ask Gary, what is life after 193 in 7 summits?
Well, Mount Everest was a real big tension for me because the climb lasted for more than 7 months from the Dead Sea to the summit of Mount Everest. It's easier with the 193. If you don't get a visa, you get it next year. You can do it. But for me, the life after 193 doesn't change very much. I would say there are so many more places to explore, and there are so many more mountains to climb. So in my lifetime, I will never finish this, but I enjoy being on the way and to see new things. And so life goes on as usual.
And so what places have you visited in more recent times after 193 that you've especially enjoyed?
Well, in the recent time, I have been to Antarctica again, the second time. I had made the south of Southern America. I was in Southeast Asia. I did a lot of Europe in COVID time because we have our little car. We sleep in it, my wife Sylvia and me. And so we explored many countries in Europe. Well, and we're just waiting what's going on with the pandemic, but we are optimistic that we are soon on the road again.
Oh, okay. I just got a message that Harry's on his way to the airport, always in motion. And so we have some extra time to stretch out this panel, which is very good because always very rushed. Let me go back and talk to some people again. Slavik, life post 93 was post 93 times 2 for you. But besides the doubling up on the countries, what else has been your focus post 193?
Well, as many people had said, you know, travel is a lifestyle, sure. and now being retired, it's also a way of just passing time, right, and spending the time that I have free. Obviously, this has been impacted by pandemia. So since March of last year, I had not traveled at all because my travel style is very, very freestyle. I don't normally book anything. Just one-way ticket and carry a small backpack with very freestyle. So today's world with all the COVID passports and shots and tests and you know, having to declare where you will be exactly and so on, that's not very conducive to my way of travel. But I really hope that it will go back soon to normal. And I will resume. What I like best is transcontinental travel. So starting in Ushuaia and going to Alaska, or going from Cape Town to Sydney overland. And this is what I intend doing. You know, there is still lots of white spaces on my map, the one you see behind. So sure. There is still a lot to do.
Okay, we have actually, it was mentioned in the panel before that we're going to have a featured country, which I thought we were going to jump over because we didn't have the time. We have some extra minutes now. I'm going to throw out the name of the country, Tajikistan, and one by one, in like 20, 30 seconds, just say a favorite memory or something that really sticks out to you for your visit to Tajikistan. We'll start with you, Scott Keller.
Okay, this one's important to have a little context because I came to Dushanbe coming from Bishkek, which is in Kyrgyzstan, and I was express kidnapped in Kyrgyzstan, and that was a scary situation. So when I got to Bishkek in Tajikistan, to Dushanbe in Tajikistan, the bread, they have this amazing yogurt naan bread that they're sort of famous for. And I remember the hospitality and eating the bread and thinking, oh my gosh, thank the Lord that I'm safe.
Alhamdulillah, I'm alive.
That was and it was otherwise a beautiful country, and flying over the Pamir Mountains
sure,
Dushanbe was just gorgeous as well.
All right. And Maurizio, what about you? Tajikistan memory.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. Yes, one of the memories is that I went to Tajikistan with an intention not only to visit Tajikistan, that was among my last countries, but also to go to Afghanistan. And unfortunately, when I get to the river crossing, I forgot the name. I had written it out yesterday. I found the Russian army was there, and that was before the internet. So I had done my homework, but I just didn't know that you had the Russian army controlling the the checkpoint between Tajikistan and Afghanistan. So what I remember is spending there hours and hours making phone calls trying to cross over. It didn't work. But thanks to that, I did have to go to Afghanistan separately from Peshawar a few months afterwards. And that's when I met my wife in Peshawar while crossing over to Afghanistan.
Very nice memories there. Konstantin, a favorite memory, a memory that sticks out from you visiting Tajikistan?
Tajikistan was a part of the Soviet Union. So I started my journey to 193 from the ex-Soviet Union Republic. So it was a far, far, far long time ago, It was one of my first countries. But I was surprised and astonished with the Pamir mountains and their lakes. Their nature is really, really, really wonderful. But it was really, really far long time ago. Yeah, one of my first countries.
Thanks, Konstantin. Lubos, what about you?
So Tajikistan was my last Asia country. It was like 3 years ago. I was there in 2005, but only in Penjikent from Samarkand. Then they closed the border. Then I have to return. I returned with my kids 3 years ago, and the best was like going to Fan Mountains. It's so beautiful. We have here in Slovakia high Tatras, but Fan Mountains is better. Everybody is heading to Pamir Highway, but Fan Mountains is like a gem. And I was with my kids, so it was a special time for me.
Okay, great. João Paulo.
Yes, by 2005 we were participating in a rally that from Budapest to Mugabe in the mountains near China, and we were speeding, and we have a purpose. Every one of us had a wheelchair on the back of the car to give to the crippled boys in Mugabe. And then I was speeding in Tajikistan, and then the police told me to stop, and I had my driver license in the back. I went to the back and he asked, "What is this?" And I said, "That's a wheelchair." And he said, "We are good people. Don't go into, you can go." And then we were 3 times. They make me stop, and same thing 3 times. So I showed a tip for all of you. You can drive with a wheelchair in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what. So
that's a great story. That's a great story. And Eric, what about you?
A couple things stick out, as a matter of fact. I've been to Tajikistan several times. It was my first Central Asian country that I went to visit. Very interesting. And I went so often that at some point, the guy who used to give out the visa on arrival, he said he would say, "Oh, you're back again," and invite me to his place. That's probably the first thing that because it was the first thing always arriving. But I think maybe the funniest thing that happened to me was when I would walk around Dushanbe and people would want an autograph. And I was surprised. I thought, my music hasn't made it here. I've never played here before. And then I found out they thought I was actually an Iranian singer, a singer from Iran called Ande, who also has long hair and has a little bit Middle Eastern looking like me. So it was a nice ego deflator there. I had to let everybody down as soon as they spoke to me in Tajik or
I don't think the Iranian guy had the tats, though.
I usually have long sleeves. One funny thing is, though, I actually did see a German band play there once at the Goethe Institute. There's a very famous band in Germany called Die Toten Hosen, and I saw them there. They were handing out free tickets one day, and I said, "What? There's some German band playing here." And so I actually got to see a band that usually plays stadiums and arenas, and people I know. I saw them play there in Dushanbe, which was just crazy.
Great. Well, speaking of Toten Hosen, we got Toten Hosen fan Micah Rumpel. What's your Tajikistan memory or Toten Hosen memory?
Not a real Toten Hosen fan I am, but my favorite memory was we went to the Shokdara Valley, which is a really remote valley up in the Pamir Mountains. And when you drive there, it opens up, and then you got peak marks and peak angles right looming over the valley. And we came to the final place there, and there's like a little village. And they had a wedding there, and they invited us to participate in their wedding. And we had to dance and drink, and it was just a wonderful place because we were sitting in this super remote place, and both of these really giant rock towers covered with ice and snow were looming above us. A very nice place.
I imagine, Gary, you maybe have a mountain memory from Tajikistan or maybe a non-mountain memory. What's your memory?
Yeah, sure. I've been a couple of times in Tajikistan, twice for mountain climbing, and once for hiking with my wife Sylvia. We had a great time along in the eastern part of Tajikistan. I did my first 7,000 meters expedition in Tajikistan, but I didn't reach a summit at the time. And then I did my first 7,000 meter solo climb. And then I reached the summit of Peak Lane, the second highest in Tajikistan. So that's good memory about Tajikistan for me.
Okay, my memory, I mean, I was there for 4 or 5 days. I kicked off an interrelation trip, started in Dushanbe, and one of my strongest memory was something we all can identify with. I was picking up my Uzbekistan visa in Dushanbe, and I'm walking away from the embassy. Luckily, I checked it because I needed a multiple entry visa because I was going to Uzbekistan into Afghanistan. And I just sort of looked at it, glanced at it. It was only a single entry. If I hadn't checked it, I would have gone to Termez in Afghanistan, and on the way out, I would have been stuck. I would have been stuck in Afghanistan. This was 10 years ago, more or less. And it could have been a little bit complicated with the logistics of trying to travel by land or fly out somewhere. So the moral of the story, even experienced travelers, sometimes we don't necessarily check our documents, but I checked it by chance. And luckily, alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, I was actually able to find this mistake. I wasn't stranded in Afghanistan. So I don't know if Harry's at the airport yet. Orest, any news from Harry? We're having a great time on this panel. We could probably talk for another hour or two. Probably get a wine from the pantry here, or get a drink. So we may actually move on to the presentation about our Lifetime Achievement Award. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So we all have a little bit of script that we all received. So have those in front of you. I'm going to kick it off. If someone's forgotten it or lost it, I'll substitute for you guys. And now it's our pleasure to give out our special award. Special in many ways in its unique design. Luboš. This is Nomadmania's Lifetime Travel Achievement Award.
Yes, and I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Okay, no, we're presenting the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. This is given to a traveler who, throughout their lives, have consistently traveled beyond the ordinary.
Yeah, I see a couple of them here. So I met Michael, as I mentioned. So it's unbelievable if I see his photos. Yeah, so, and I will check all of you then after, and then Gary too, because I want to climb Mount Everest, but I'm afraid still. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, Luboš, I'm now announcing the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award. As you can imagine, this award is given to someone of a certain age. In fact, even older than some of the older members of our panel. And that means the person traveled a long, long time ago. At a time
when there were no mobiles, no internet, no information. And Nomadmania is exceptionally pleased to be awarding the very first Lifetime Achievement Award
to a very special traveler who has truly dedicated an entire life to travel.
Gary, and the envelope, please, Gary. Envelope.
It's a great honor for me to announce the name of this outstanding traveler. His name is André Rougerou. Congratulations and chapeau from all of us.
Chapeau. What makes so special a person like André Rougerou is that they traveled a long time ago before technology. So there have been probably technology issues for them to connect in with us. We would like to have asked a few questions and give them a round standing ovation. But let me just introduce him with a few words. André was born just before World War II. In 1955, at age 17, he left France for 17 years, or 18 years on journey around the world. worked and traveled. And at one time, he traveled 6 years nonstop, hitchhiking 400,000 kilometers through 120 countries on $1 a day. This was before, smartphones, internet, every passport stamp community on Facebook, before executive lounge at airports. He's been for decades a follower of the Baha'i faith, but he has his own philosophy as well, a travel philosophy. And in that travel philosophy, the travel religion that he has himself, he has the 3 big no's. No hotels, no taxis, no restaurants. On the Nomadmania website, you'll find interviews with 9 of the panel members of our panel. Also, his interview is very interesting, and I quote him. He says, "According to me, you have to be alone to travel properly. 2 people traveling together or taking a holiday. 3 is already a group. Over 3 starts colonization." And he says words which I think are very, very wise for all of us. I think we all believe the same philosophy. He says, "I am not a real traveler, but rather a student." I think. Oh, welcome, bienvenue. Well, welcome. It's very good to see you.
Welcome, he says.
Oh, thank you very much.
I just want to welcome you. I was quoting things from your interview, and I mentioned that you said 2 people traveling together are taking a holiday. 3 is already a group. Over 3 starts colonization. I am not a real traveler, but I'm just a student.
Ok. T'es ok.
Qu'est-ce que je dois dire?
Rien. Rien.
Do you hear me okay?
Est-ce que tu l'entends bien? Do you hear
Yeah, I'm hearing you okay.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a real honor for us. I know technology is sometimes can be difficult. We're so honored to present this award for you today. Lifetime achievement. I think we all as travelers stand on the shoulders of giants, and we look up to those who traveled before when things were much more difficult than they are now. So thank you for coming on today, and we're very honored by your presence.
Ils sont très honoreux de ta présence. Regarde là, ils sont très honoreux de ta présence.
Oh, I'm pleased to meet everybody here.
Oh, okay. I would like to ask you again maybe a couple of questions.
Please.
Any advice? Vous avez des conseils? Do you have any advice for the newer generation of world travelers today?
Well, I think it is important to know others, because by traveling, if you travel properly, I'm not talking about competition traveling, which was not existing in 55. This ticking business is not traveling to me. Outside of that, it is important to know others, to drop prejudices. And I think every young man could travel at least a year after school, meeting people, being among them. You don't learn about people in Sheraton Hotel, I'm very sorry. But meeting them, it would be important to have a different idea of the people. If you go to a country, then you're going to like the people afterwards. You're going to learn. And everywhere, there's only one human species. Everywhere, you can make friends. Man has got a heart, feelings. All of us live between 2 things, joy and pain. We're all in the middle. So if you travel, traveling is spending on the traveler. If you go to a country as a conqueror with guns, you will be shot at. If you go as a tourist, they will try to grab your money. But if you go as a friend, you will be received as a friend. Mm-hmm. So traveling is not depending on the country, but on the traveler. And beauty is everywhere. Just open your eyes. There are wonderful people everywhere. That's what I've met. All I want to say, the best thing you can bring back from traveling, is yourself safe and sound. Because the world also is not so easy to travel, especially problem with visas and wars. I was put in jail 7 times. I nearly got shot 10 times. You know, the world is dangerous. My conclusion, I don't want to talk long. My conclusion, why did I travel? This is the main thing. I'm not a real traveler, and I am more of a student. My problem is that I want to see for myself on the spot. So my first trip that lasted 18 years long when I left was my university, kind of university. Why did I travel? I realized that I was born before the war, the Second World War. You see me, not the first one, second one. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to, it was not conscious, but I wanted to find out if people will be able one day to bring about peace. Peace is what we need today. So this has been my quest, trying to find out if peace is possible. My conclusion is, it seems strange in the world of today to believe that, but peace is not only possible, it is unavoidable. It will come. Problem is, important is not to know that peace will come, is to know how to bring it about. And that has been my quest. I did not go around for that. But I discovered in Persia, there was a new revelation in the 19th century that gave to man, explained to man how to bring about peace, and gave to mankind a world administrative plan, a practical plan to administrate the whole world as a single country. The main idea of this Baha'i plan, you mentioned it, is in the title of my first book. The earth is but one country, and it goes, and all mankind are its citizens. That's what we have to understand.
Maybe I could just ask one last question before ending this segment in the show. After all these years on the road and your discovery of yourself and discovery of humanity in the world, would you say you're an optimist about the human condition? Are you an optimist about humanity?
Well, if I believe that peace will come around, that means I'm optimist. But you must not dream. Peace won't come through ideal cleverness. There's no more. The world is, sorry for the word, but it's fucked up today. So it will come through a big catastrophe. I think we're going to a third world war. It will need a spanking, a last spanking before we reach peace. But then, once after that spanking, and it's a nice word, you think COVID is a terrible thing, but this is the hors d'oeuvre to me. We are going to a catastrophe now, through a catastrophe. This is necessary to change totally our way of thinking, and after that there won't be any other choice. But there is this Baha'i plan that is being spread around the world without making noise. This is the beginning, but it is working. I check it up. When I discovered this plan, everybody says this is the ideal. Of course, for an ideal plan, you need an ideal man, more brotherly, more friendly. That's what we need today. And traveling for that is a good help if you travel properly and go to people. So there is a plan for after the catastrophe to build this world, which has nothing to do with our way of administrating the world today, of course.
I think it's safe to say you're optimistic, but there's no easy solution. There's no easy road. You have to break down, have catastrophe, then build up together. Only build it up together is there's a cause for optimism.
André, félicitations. Votre histoire est une inspiration pour tout le monde, je crois. What an honor to have such a travel legend with us.
Yeah, I'm amazed by how different travel was in those days. So much more challenging than now.
And also so much more authentic. Imagine coming to Dubai, for example, in the 50s. There was almost nothing but sand back then.
And who knows what the world will be in another 70 years. But for now, let's focus on the next 70 seconds or so. We have a final award of the show, the biggest traveler award.
And Nomadmania received a huge amount of nominations for this award. We had to shortlist it down to 5 nominees, which was an impossible task.
Tonight, for sure, there are no losers here. Each one of the 5 nominees is a true winner. The nominees for Biggest Traveler 2021 are
Christoph Heuermann from Germany. Christoph is 31 years old and has been traveling perpetually since 2015. The pandemic inspired him to buy a catamaran, with which he continues his travels at sea as well as multiple overland expeditions.
And Pavel Christ from Poland. At 69 years old, Pavel is truly unstoppable. In the last year, he has visited more than 60 new Nomadmania regions, always on a low-budget solo trips. He recently went to all of the Nomadmania regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo all alone.
Gina Morello from the United States. Gina was the first traveler to complete every country in the world during the pandemic by reaching Mozambique last December. She has continued traveling non-stop, visits in Kenya and Ethiopia, and last week she was in Timbuktu.
Sonrisa Rasco from the Philippines. Sonrisa, who we saw earlier, is the founder of the Philippine Global Explorers and is slowly reaching her goal of visiting every country and has been on the road almost non-stop throughout the pandemic, documenting her adventures for everyone. A few days ago, she was in Suriname.
And finally, Pong Tan Seninu from Thailand, an avid traveler. Despite having a rather challenging passport, he could have just been nominated for the Intrepid category as well. His fearless adventures in Afghanistan and overland trips in Mali included diving with anacondas.
5 incredible travelers to celebrate, and for sure there are many more who could have been nominated in this category. To present this award, we welcome once again Nomadmania's founder, Harry Mitsidis.
Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. During panels 8 and 9, I was in a taxi, and now I'm at Athens Airport, and unless this gets done fast, I'm going to miss my flight. So first of all, let me say that Christoph and Ponkarin were really, really happy to be nominated. They're both traveling. Christoph is in Saga National Park in Central African Republic, and obviously there's no connectivity there, so he can. And it is rather windy here in Athens, but it was this or me wearing a mask inside, so I opted for this. Now, let me also say that we got lots and lots of nominations by all of you when asked for all the categories. And first of all, we really thank you. There are many travelers we were not aware of. We needed to make difficult choices to reach the 5 final nominees. And I hope no one has been upset by our choices. Sometimes we made choices with imperfect information. And next time round, it would be helpful if when you nominate someone, you explain in detail why that person is. That would really help. At this point, I would also like to say that we already hope that the next Nomadmania ceremony is going to be live, not virtual, and in cooperation with every passport stamp. We hope to have this event next October in Yerevan, Armenia, during the travel festival that is being organized there. So hopefully that'll be an opportunity for all of us to be there together, rather than just virtually. Now, let's look at the nominees again. I would really like to thank all of you for being here. I would like to congratulate all of you. And I'd like to say that sometimes one vote makes all the difference. It's not a secret that I'm a Eurovision Song Contest fan. And one of my best moments of the Eurovision Song Contest.
I guess Harry lost the connection. He was going to tell an amazing story about how at some point during the Eurovision contest, someone won just for one vote, and this is what happened in this.
Hi guys, sorry about that. Inevitable technical problem. So yes, one of my favorite moments from the Eurovision was in 1988, when at the very end we had Switzerland and the United Kingdom contending for the title, and Switzerland was represented by a rather unknown singer called Celine Dion. and she was trailing the UK by 15 points with 3 countries to vote. France voted, giving poor Celine only 1 point with a French language song. Very disappointing. But they gave the UK nothing. Then Portugal voted, giving the UK only 3 and giving Celine 12. And that left Yugoslavia voting last. And what did they do? They gave Celine 6 and they gave the UK nothing. And Celine Dion won by 1 vote. So, what has happened here with the biggest traveler is exactly the same thing. The recipient of the award is getting this with the difference of 1 vote. That means that if one of you had voted in a different way, we might have a different recipient. This was the closest vote in all the categories, and I'm the only person who knows the vote along with our programmer, Daniel. Oris, can we please see everyone again, if possible? I'd like to say everyone is a winner tonight. Not only you have been nominated, I think everyone watching the show, everyone travel can only make us win. I also want to say that once I announce the winner, I need to dash. I need to cross immigration and security, and in truly Nomadmania style, I'm going to be on a plane within the next half an hour. So, congratulations to everyone. I think it's been a great evening. Thank you, host. Sarah is exhausted. Sam and Francisco, well done. And the recipient of the biggest traveler award 2021, and this is based on your vote, okay, is Gina Morello. Well done, Gina. And goodbye from me.
Oh, thank you. Goodbye, Harry. And actually
Goodbye.
boarding a boat for Antarctica myself here in a few minutes. But this is such a surprise, and I'm just thrilled and honored to win this award. And it's even a greater honor to be considered in such distinguished ranks as my fellow nominees, Riza and Pavel, Pong, and Christoph. All of whom have, I admire their travel style and accomplishments. And of course, I know Harry just dropped off, but I'd like to say a special thanks to Harry for not just organizing this award show to unite the travelers, but just being the genius to come up with Nomadmania, to unite travelers all over the world together in a great information resource. So lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Nomadmania team themselves. They're such fantastic people: Milana, Daniel, William, Thomas, and also Orest, the show director. Without all your hard work, we wouldn't be having so much fun here tonight in every corner of the world. So, and I know we're in a hurry to end, but I'd just like to leave everyone with a bit of advice that I learned from the wise beyond their years young ladies in at the Girl Move Academy in Mozambique, where I visited when I entered my last country last year in 2020, is always dream big and don't put a roof on your dreams. And I'd like to add to that, especially your travel dreams. So everyone keep traveling, and thanks again, Harry and the team. Really appreciate it.
Congratulations, Gina. Thank you very much. It's crazy to see
you.
my flag right behind you. So and have a good trip. I'm really jealous about the cruise you're about to take to Antarctica.
Wow, guys, it feels like we are losing people. Everybody is going different directions, and even though if I didn't appear here much, I'm happy to substitute some of our hosts that actually left us, because it was a busy, crazy, but I believe a successful day. What do you tell, Francisco?
Yeah, I think it was great. I don't understand how you pull it off, how you did all the all the work of pulling people in and out. And thank you very much to all the people that saw it through and stayed with us. I hope you got inspired with all the stories and experience that got shared. There were some really incredible people here on the show.
Amazing. So thanks, guys. All the best. See you somewhere around the world, and let's continue the Nomadmania spirit. Good luck.
Thank you.